Today on Mob
We
Rules.
talked about Primaris-ish.
And the 8th edition battles that we took part in.
And Ultramarines, but don't turn off. No, it's good.
No.
Honestly, it's
yeah?
really, really good. It's good.
Yeah.
All that,
and eBay Price is Right
And
is
eBay
back.
Price is Right is back.
Thank
that,
you.
and all that stuff, too, on
Mob
Rules.
I got it right that
Do you
time.
want to do it again? Are we good?
Now we're good.
All right.
We got into some menu I couldn't figure out.
Ooh. So you did the classic IT reboot?
Yep.
Oh, tough.
Auto erase.
Hooray! Well, I see you're recording, so
Yeah, so we're here.
welcome to Mob Rules. 53?
Three, I think.
53. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's one more than 52.
That is. And one less than 54. So close.
Oh, the math.
So close. I am John, joined as always by...
Hey, the Ted.
And the Phil.
Hey, the Phil.
Why am I the only one who's not referring to himself? Oh, man.
you didn't receive that honorific.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We'll be knighted thee later.
I named thee. Thanks. Bye. There's more of the title. Or you're like a baby custode. Or
Yeah,
you're just
I
like,
was
what's
just
your name? The. I haven't earned anything yet.
First day on the job.
Well, at least not the jizz mopper. So. Congratulations.
Yet.
There is a way down.
Giggity. We're going to talk a little bit about Ultramarines today. We're going to talk a lot, I think, about 8th edition, which we all ended up playing. We'll go into later. Just
Some of us against each other.
Oh, did you guys fight each other?
No.
Oh, you and I did.
Played me.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
in real life.
Twice.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yeah.
And that's really about it. Oh, and due to popular demand, popular demand of 3 people.
It's up to 3. I just saw
it's
the
up
one.
to 3.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Well, over the course of the year that I haven't done it, we're also gonna do some eBay prices, right?
Nice.
Because I have a new edition to do.
Yay.
I was gonna do some 7th edition, but apparently no one wants to watch or listen to
Yeah.
or do anything with anything.
Actually, I'm going to go back and like
7th
redact
edition.
the word 7th edition.
everything,
yeah. Just people are doing searches. 8th edition, but not 7th edition.
We will just title the episode, is this the new 40K? Click here to find out. And then, no,
8th and
it
edition
won't be
and Warhammer, not 7th.
Yeah, right.
8th edition -1. But yeah, Ted, what have you been up to apart from playing games? Because we're going to get into the game playing part later, I think. But what have you been up to hobbying?
So I got my librarian on a bike
saw that.
put together, and mostly,
Badass.
yeah, I got it painted. It was like I was really excited. Like I tried to go to the tournament. Like, all right, I'm just only going to play with painted models, and I get there, and I think like you might have been the only one. No, both actually. I think like both of you, right?
Yeah.
Had painted models.
Yeah.
But like we were a rare commodity. We were the unicorn of the groups.
The only thing I had that wasn't painted was 3 wave serpents.
Oh, okay. So Phil and I were the only.
Then get out.
My house did.
Actually, if anything, it's like you and I have to go.
Yeah, it's like,
We're the pariahs.
But yeah, most of my stuff was painted. But yeah,
Yeah.
3 wave serpents. Oh, and the Farseer too. And Eldred. Oh man, I'm with the worst.
Yeah.
now you're the
So I made my list, like going into this, like I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna do any Forge World because like my Forge World book hasn't come in, and for the Index, the Stardays one, and so like, all right, like I usually weigh like really heavily on Forge World, but I think it like came down to like 2:30 in the morning and like trying to fit it all together and like finish my librarian and everything like that. I was like, I think I would rather sleep than paint things that are non-Forge World. Like, to get them, it's worth the $17 to go and like buy the digital edition as well, and then take my frickin' Scorpius.
Yeah.
So I did.
You're like, I could paint 200 points worth of stuff, or I can spend $17. $17
and sleep.
per hour. That's a fantastic rate.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah, I think
super
that was
cheap.
all right. So I think like librarians fit it. I do want to go back and do some like micro texturing. Have you ever got to that point where like it's really late at night and it just feels like you went from like a precision painter to a finger painter?
I've never reached precision painter. So
Hey, Phil,
I've only ever stopped at finger painter.
Phil, have you ever gone like really late night where you go from like finger painter to, oh man, where did my paints go?
Did I eat them?
Yeah, you go from finger painter to paint eater.
Yes.
I still do that.
It's true. That's how you keep your brushes nice.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I do that too. Yeah.
I do not.
You're not a brush licker. Huh?
No.
That's how you that's how you keep your tip fine.
Yeah, well, that's also why I have shitty brushes. They all fall apart. My brushes don't deserve me getting
Thus finger painter.
like titanium poisoning or whatever from the whites.
Over the 20 or so years that I've been doing this, I feel I've probably eaten about 4 pots of paint.
Oh yeah,
from just like residuals right on the brush there.
It's just instinctual. Like like my brush tip isn't like messed up or anything. It's just like a habit. Lick.
Yeah.
There's a little part of you in every model.
That's right.
2 thin coats. They didn't say you had to use water.
Saliva and blood. I got one of those right here. One of those hobbying accidents. I have Captain America because I put a drill into my finger.
That's rough.
No, thank you.
So yes. Working on that Derridio went back to that. Nice.
Oh yeah. How's that coming along?
I was trying to fit a plastic rod inside another plastic rod that doesn't fit there.
Giggity.
So
okay.
I tried spitting on it. It didn't work. She did not say yes, so I had to use a drill.
Is that why you
That's
have
why
Captain America?
like,
It's all coming together. We followed all of the hints and rules and figured it out.
This story has been validated.
Yes.
So I'm excited to like hopefully at some point get that finished. And although I did feel like a traitor bitch because like I did play my Iron Hands at the tournament instead of orcs. So
yeah,
the summer orcs stopped as soon as it was time to go to the table.
Yeah.
Took a slight detour to the summer of painted armies.
Exactly.
How dare you?
But it was kind of nice. I think after that tournament and like seeing how few like painted armies there were, now I don't like. All right, I don't want to stand out. I don't want to be different than anybody. I want to. I'll just play orcs because there's enough of them now.
Yeah.
I think the kind of the issue is, especially with like this like these next few tournaments coming up, is no one knows what the fuck to run. Mm-hmm. So like I think there's a higher percentage of unpainted stuff right now because like for me, like I took my Eldar army and like I'm like, okay, shit, how do I have 2 unassembled wave serpents, let's assemble them. Like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like stuff I never really ran before, but like let's give this a try, and that's kind of like, well, for me, why my stuff was there.
There's gonna be a lot of testing and figuring out
I
suddenly realized that I probably need some bikes with flamers. And then I looked at my bits box and I've got like a flamer, and I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. Yeah. So,
well, I think like, do you want to get into the tournament, or do you?
We'll finish like we do modeling, and then we'll come back and do that because I think we're going to spend a long because for once all 3 of us played on the same day at the same time.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, what did you do?
What have I been doing? I guess recently.
It says like, do you want to talk about this now? No, we're going to do it later. Okay, well, hurry up. Let's go. Yeah.
5 words or less. What'd you do? Not that much.
I now have Primaris Marines.
Okay, John, go. Haiku this shit.
I also have Primaris Marines.
Okay, cool. So we went to this tournament.
I will say, as well, joking aside, I did assemble 3 sets of Primaris Marines in one go.
Oh my gosh.
It was a brutal
It was nuts watching the Facebook, and like a lot of people were really excited about putting together like a mobs of Primaris. Like, because what was it? Dave was okay. We're going into the all right.
But yeah, he brought a whole army.
Yeah, like all it was Primaris
and 1 librarian.
Right.
And it was like a librarian on a bike and a predator that he said was driven by a Primaris Marine. So
which can really fit. Hey, so let's just talk about tournament then. No one gives a shit about what we've done on the table.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Let's be honest.
Honestly, I've painted 10 Primaris Marines. That's what I did. I did the intercessors, and then today I built.
You actually painted them?
Yeah. Well, because what I'm doing this to keep myself from like going crazy, unlike John who decided to go whole hog on that. I'm just like building a few and then painting them. So I just built a bunch. I built the Hellblasters and the 2 lieutenants today, and I primed them. So they're getting ready to get painted.
I have 2 lieutenants and a chapter agent for you. And I have 5 Hellblasters for you.
Why?
What's that?
Why?
Because I have 3 sets of them, and I can never think of a time I would run 6 lieutenants.
I will take them. Thank
you. There you go. And so they're the redder ones.
Awesome.
Sweet. They are assembled though. So
do you want me to paint a character or something for you in exchange? Or?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, so I assembled 3 sets of them. I base coated a bunch of them yellow. I gave them my little sunburnt thing, and then I was like, I'm not playing these tomorrow, so I'm going to leave them alone and go grab Eldar. But yeah, end of stuff we've done. If you want to see what Phil's up to, watch his Wednesday videos.
That's true.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Or
deep thoughts, thin coats.
Or let us talk about it when we're more interested in that. Games played. No, your videos. Just,
yes. I got
you. So all of us went to kind of the inaugural 8th edition tournament.
Oh, wow.
For our local game store.
Yeah.
It was a really good tournament. It was like 23 people.
It was a lot.
25.
That was probably,
25
other than the
people.
States, that was the biggest tournament.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So it was huge. It was
yeah.
awesome.
It brought out both, competitive and casual. Everyone was kind of
a
lot of
seeing
Glitchhammer
how the game played. Really trying to get that practice.
Wasn't me.
And it went really. It looked like it went smooth. I didn't hear a whole lot of salt. I think there was like a little dusting of salt on
Matt and I didn't get a play, so we were pretty upset. So we just mumbled under our breath about it. That was a little salt.
Oh, a little salt.
Great at Matt?
Was it? Yeah.
Oh, I got to play him. It was fun.
Oh, fuck you.
So good. Like the best game ever.
I'm never going to play you, Matt. I'm not going to take sloppy seconds.
So, Ted, tell us, what army did you bring? And then kind of go through the list a little bit there.
Iron Hands. So I played a game against Phil for the Glacial Geek.
Yeah, the videos out there, so you can check that out.
And I didn't lose a single model, and I tabled Phil.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I just gotta take that. I'll just double it up.
Yeah.
And so it was tons of dreadnoughts.
I think in pool that's called a hustle.
So Phil hustled me.
Well, I guess so. I mean,
You were like, oh, las cannons. I'll be seeing Ted. I know the answer to Ted.
yeah, exactly. I slipped Nate a 20, and I was just like, make sure I meet Ted on the table there. A little bit of revenge there.
I got my pig sticker right here. I'm gonna fuck this kid up. So, feed him to the shacks.
Exactly.
So I took I didn't have any more. I had one. I had the Derridito dreadnought, but I didn't take it. So I had the 4 dreadnoughts, and oh my god, the contemptors are hella cheap. Contemptors are cheap.
Well, the base plastic contemptors from the Index Imperium are cheap. The Forge World ones with more options are more expensive.
Right.
Oh, really?
So the cheapest you can get, the plastic one, was 165 points.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which is decent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
I had one that was upgraded, so it was 167.
And that's with a Karis Assault Cannon and a Dreadnought close combat weapon. But because you can't take kind of other weapons, or you can't double Assault Cannon, I think it's cheaper. Because looking at the Forge World Index, they are more expensive, I believe, through Forge World.
I just so happen to have the electronic version.
Not out of choice, but
yeah, exactly. Out of desire for sleep.
Yeah, because I've run the regular Dreadnought, and he got expensive. I think.
Well,
I think
regular Dreads, my Ironclad was 110 or or something like that.
Yeah,
and he was only upgraded. The only upgrade I gave him was a heavy flamer.
Yeah, because my Venerable, I think, is a base 90 plus the close combat weapon plus the heavy flamer plus all
the extras you have to throw in there. Yeah. Whereas I think the Contemptor is just kind of a Stormbolter, a close combat weapon, and then the Karis, which is 25 or something like that.
Yeah, really cheap.
Yeah,
Ted, you're making everyone burp today.
I know. Congratulations. Oh darn it! I looked at the Mortis, Relic Contemptor Dreadnought. Oh shoot! I should have looked at the points. Anyway,
whatever.
I'll look it up
We're
later.
gonna blade, but I believe, and I could be completely wrong. That it's
you're
more
probably
expensive
right. I mean,
from the because it's a relic Contemptor,
Oh,
and not a Contemptor.
gotcha. Does he get special?
What?
and
No, he
bobs?
gets absolutely nothing extra. What's interesting though, I did look up the what is it, the custode version of the Contemptor, and it's stat line the exact same thing, points are the exact same thing. The only thing different is the custode version gets basically, I think it's a 5 up or 6 up feel no pain.
Ooh.
It will not die
cool.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
So at
yeah,
the end, every time you take a wound, you can roll after you do your saves and ignore it. So it's you get a freebie, and it's the exact same loadout because it's the plastic model.
Yeah.
Well, that's
same
nice.
points, and I think because it's Imperium, you could just take it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Keywords.
So, yeah, it just
keywords.
won't have the chapter.
It's Imperial soup.
Yeah.
I think I really like that. Is that no one felt really scummy for taking more than one faction or different things like that.
Yeah.
But what was your list?
So it was the 2 Contemptors. One of them, so they both had, or one had a multi-melta, the other one had the Karens, and then I think one of them I did upgrade to have the heavy flame. No, that wasn't it. Did I have
one of your dreads had a heavy flame, right?
Yeah, I think it was one of the contemptors. The nice thing about that, like 9-inch of movement is really awesome.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just 9-inch movement.
Yeah, 9-inch. So it's speedy. And then I ran around. Then there was like a regular dreadnought that was just like base with like the multi-melta and then like the Stormbolter. And then there was the Ironclad. I had like I upgraded one to be the Stormbolter to a heavy flamer. And I love Stormbolters now. Oh my god, like the rate of fire
is so gross.
twice as many shots.
You do not want to play Matt because
all the dice,
yeah.
All the
and I just ran around with a Tech Marine, and like it was like his little Death Star.
Yeah,
but so I had that. Then I had like the Librarian on a bike. Librarian, that was addition to what I played with you.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. And then there's like I think like 2 10-man blobs of Marines. A 7-man with I think it was like a Melta gun, a Combi Melta, and a Thunderhammer.
Yeah,
in a Rhino. And I like that was another model. I was like that night, like, oh god, I gotta get a Rhino put together because that'll eat 100 points.
Yeah, and his Rhino looks way better than any of mine did, and he did it in like 3 seconds. Bitter much, Phil?
Airbrush, man, airbrush, airbrush and plick foam.
Yeah.
So then I think it was like a drop pod with some Stern Guard in it, and Stern Guards suck in this edition. But and then I can't remember what else. Oh, the Scorpius.
And
then 2 5-man scout squads with cloaks. One had sniper rifles, and holy shit, I used my orc dice. Oh man, those things they hate me. I need to replace the dice on them.
Yeah,
or the batteries rather.
Yeah,
but I think it was
they were probably just upset that you weren't actually rolling with actual orcs.
Right.
Is what it was.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. They're like, you could use these for here we go. Oh, no, you don't have that? Well, no, you should have thought about that before this.
I'm sorry. Is this still summer? What are these Marines?
Summer of the Traitor.
Yeah.
But it was like, I think I should, a normal person would have learned a lesson, but I don't learn lessons. So
fair enough.
Instead, like, it was like, I think I ran forward, or I had my unit, and I think like the game that you and I played, Phil, was kind of like what just happened regularly during the tournament.
Oh no, really?
Except like ours was worse, but it was like that was the
mean.
hyperbolic version of the regular game. It was like, all right, Librarian comes over, Librarian like tries to get his power off, Librarian perils, Librarian kills himself and like wipes out a whole bunch of people around him.
Yeah.
Then a dreadnought blows up and does a bunch of mortal wounds to everybody around him. Now Ted is down to 2 of them. Oh, and his Tech Marine died because of the perils. Like, so basically, I think like what was it? Like I killed the first like several models in the game.
I was like first turn. I was like, all right, I took down one of your dreadnoughts. Let's see if it explodes. Oh, it does explode. So now your Librarian's down to 2 wounds, and so is your Tech Marine, and a whole bunch of your dreadnoughts are now down to like a few wounds too because of that. And then it comes up to your turn, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do my psychic phase. Roll double 6s. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to spend a command point to, and then you spent that command point to re-roll it because you were like, I don't want to perils with him because I can't take D3 mortal wounds. Re-roll that 1 dice back to a 6. And I was like, oh,
because you did the same thing on the table next to us in the same game
at the same time.
Double 6s, command point back to double 6s, and then he blew up, he died, so then he blew up and killed the Tech Marine and took out more wounds on you. And you're like, well, this was not ideal.
That was about 1,000 points.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Like half my army.
It was brutal. There was a period there where I think you did more wounds to your guys than I did because of blowing up and getting sucked into the warp. Oh man.
So I think it was interesting because so that not to that degree, but that kind of like shades of that happened throughout my games. Dreadnought runs forward, Dreadnought blows up, Dreadnought kills a bunch of my guys.
Because you played in your first game, you played Jacob, right? Who had 3 Stormlords.
Yeah, he blew up one of my guys, which blew up other guys. Or
literally blew it up. He took out a hammer and blew it up.
It was to the point where every time he blew up a dread, he was like, all right, let's see how many guys it kills. No, I have to roll for it first. All right. How many guys does it kill? It just became an expectation.
Yeah.
Tim was going to roll a 6 when they explodes.
Yeah. Vehicles and some of those monsters that have those explosion rules at the end, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference now because before it was like, oh, it blows up. Now you take a strength 4 hit. Yeah. And most of the time you're like, all right, well, what do you freaking do?
Yeah, you're hitting my dreadnought on the side. Big deal.
Yeah, big deal. Okay, nothing. You can't do anything to this. Can't do anything. But now it's like, oh no, you're taking mortal wounds on everything, and everyone's like, oh,
yeah.
never mind.
It was interesting because I think like when people first started talking about like this wound characteristic, I don't think we knew about the explodes thing.
Yeah.
And like so people like were often saying like, oh, things are more resilient. And like, well, not when you have them all clustered together and one pops and then the other pops.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And they also did it with monsters too. There's some of the monsters I've seen, at least on the Tyranid side that I've seen, that
death throws,
like the death throws, where they just like as they're dying, they're like flailing with their massive like scything talons, and it can kill everything like around them. And it's like, that's brutal.
In our game, I think like one of the biggest things I did to your army was like launching that rhino with the guys with the melta-guns at you.
Yeah,
they popped out and they hit like your predator and did dick. And I don't even think they hit it.
Yeah,
and then like you came back and like shot the rhino. And it blew up and did wounds to your guys because it exploded.
Yeah.
It's like every fucking thing exploded.
And I was like, all right, well, now you wounded Azrael, and you wounded my tech marine, and you wounded my 2 tanks. Wow, that was way more than those guys with the melticus did.
It's like the ongoing joke was like, oh yeah, they decided to pack all their promethium on top of the rhinos
on the outside. Like, we'll probably be fine, right?
They didn't expect a battle. They're just like refueling stuff. Look what I got on sale! Boom!
Yeah, it got pretty brutal. So, but to be fair, your list with my list that I came up to go to the tournament, it was going to be a harsh matchup for that anyway, because I was running I was running all the las cannons. I had 3 predators with the twin las cannons and las cannons.
12 shots of las cannon.
Yeah. It was a lot of las cannons firing there, and I had them.
Azrael.
I had them in a circle like around Azrael, who gave them all rerolls on missed hits. And I had a tech marine there to heal them up if when that happened.
Which was
not necessary in your game, yeah, for sure. So it was a pretty. I had my own little Death Star there. I had that, so
little Predator
Death Star with Azrael, and also Azrael gave him the 4+ invul save, which was nice, because as you're getting rending, it's like, oh, I'm going to shoot it with my las cannon. It's like, still got a 4+ invul save, so. It only ever went like rending 1 would be the only thing that would ever make any difference. Beyond that, it just had the 4+ invul anyway. So, it was a pretty nice little.
I think the first game I played, I played against the guy who I think took second, right? Because I think it was Jacob.
Yes,
and he took the 3 Stormlords, and they were packed to the gills with heavy weapons teams.
Yes,
like all he took were the 3 super heavies, and then a bunch of heavy choices. And then I think like Strachan, and they counted as whatever strat Catechin, and so like he was able to all the Stormlords are able to reroll 1s. And so that was like that was hella effective. Like it was ridiculous. I actually didn't kill anything up until the very end when he was like, I'm gonna throw some or bring the guardsman out. Like, something squishy finally that doesn't have 26 wounds.
26 wounds for a Stormlord. Wow, it's brutal.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's but at the same time, like going through these, like my list was suited for yours, which was mech heavy. My las cannons are great on that,
Yeah.
But then my first game, I played against orcs, where like you shoot a storm boy with a with a las cannon, it does, it's just as likely to kill him as like shooting him with a bolter.
Heavy stubber.
Yeah, it's a heavy stubber. It doesn't make a difference. He's like 1 wound. I don't care if you've got D6 wounds going on there. That does nothing for me.
Triple, quadruple.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he exploded. Yes, he's now covering all of his friends, but they don't care.
Which gave them a +1 armor save.
Yeah, exactly. It helped their 6+ armor save.
6+.
Yeah, 6+. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what it was. That's what I found interesting was like all the different. Like you saw the ones that finished on the top, and like I ended up doing pretty well. I went like 2-1. The one lost against the orcs, but if you looked at the ones who finished up on top, there was a wide range of them. Like you had orcs up on top, you had Necrons on top, you had the guard on top, you had like a whole wide range of different forces which ended up on top. Which I mean, that looks good to me for the kind of the parity that you're seeing now with 8th edition. That before it was like all Eldar, all Necron, all Tau, and that's like
what I saw kind of through all the ones that were on top was armies that were able to put out high numbers of damage.
Yes.
So not necessarily even high amounts of wounds, but I think the guy Rob who won was kind of running a list that had something that could do 14 to 30 wounds to a model a turn. So like it was able to like 1 turn kill knights, 1 turn kill giant monsters, and that seems to be so far what's kind of shaking up is trying to kind of ignore or at least negate wounds.
Yes,
entirely. And that's we saw that the Stormlord list you play against Jacob. That was with Rob's list. That was with a lot of the quote unquote top lists.
Yeah, and I feel like it looked like the ones that did the best were the ones that were able to handle like a whole lot of different things. You know what I mean? Like my list suffered against hordes. And I have to go back to the drawing board to figure that one out. But it's one of those things where it's like if you had like with Jacob's list, because he had all those guys inside of those Stormlords, it's like the Stormlords can do their best against the heavy targets, but then he's got a whole bunch of guys inside that are able to then take down hordes as they come at them too. So I think it's like a combination of being able to handle both is how you're going to do well in tournaments now, because both hordes and big heavies are viable in the addition. So if you can't handle both, you're probably going to run up against both in a tournament, and you got to be able to handle it. So it's kind of interesting to see how that dynamic has changed with the 8th edition. I mean, this is one tournament. Who knows if that's the only way it's going to stick? But for now, that's kind of how
what
it
it's
looks to me.
seeing.
Yeah.
I really enjoed Roombaying my Wave Serpent.
Oh god, that was hilarious. That was the same game that we played.
Yeah.
Well, I did that in all
you
3
did?
games.
Okay.
It wasn't as effective the first or the third time. But like because all of the Eldar Graph tanks have fly, you can leave combat and shoot and charge again without kind of penalty.
Okay.
You can't charge again. Fly doesn't let you charge.
Doesn't let you charge?
I thought it was just I just thought.
I thought you could pull back and maybe I cheated some people, but
why'd
I
you cheat some people?
I know, son of a bitch.
But that's why you won the tournament.
Yeah,
but what? yeah. What's the opposite of win? Because that's what I did.
Hung out with me.
Yeah.
You mob ruled it.
Please don't make that a verb. But no, so I would charge in with the tank to control their shooting phase, so that they could break off, but they wouldn't be able to shoot back.
Yeah.
And so like I would like Tokyo drift sideways a Wave Serpent, and then multi-assault like 3 units, because a lot of stuff's getting bunched up close together. So like you're doing with Azrael, like so he gets the buffs. Girly Man like gets the buffs. Your dreadnoughts and everything like that. I probably wouldn't charge dreadnoughts as much because I'm pretty sure they could do 12 wounds.
Yeah, they could.
Yes, they can. But he one round in our game in a bat rep, he one turn destroyed my fully healthy Land Raider in close combat because he was like, "Oh, I've got this like sonic screwdriver of a hammer over here that's just going to make your guy disappear," and I was like,
5 points of damage per hit.
It was nuts.
God.
Yeah. So yes, you don't want to do that.
No. But I was able to tie up predators.
Yeah.
I was able to tie up rhinos, plague marines. Even like some dreadnoughts. Like I know I played against Matt with his Grey Knights. He had 2 dreadnoughts with last cannon autocannon combo. Yeah, and knocking their ability to shoot really kind of stopped me from being tabled in 3 turns. It took 4 turns. But yeah, that's kind of what I say. I assume my list suffered because I wasn't able to take lots of wounds at a time. And like I said, it was weird because like list construction for me, I don't know how you guys were about it, but like as
is that painted? Okay, I'll take it.
with like my first, because it's my first few games, like usually I sit down and I have a good idea of what works for Eldar in 7th and kind of what I'm used to running. Yeah, and there was no way I could possibly run that. It wouldn't work and it wouldn't have. Yeah. So it was like super interesting for me trying to come up with something that would have been effectively good. I'm like, okay, this is better, I feel, and then to be like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of figuring out in the coming months with games and stuff. Bless you. In the coming months, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, and what synergies work, and what needs to fill what gaps in a list. I think there's going to be a lot of that, and that's kind of exciting. The fact that you can go, you're basically going back to scratch, looking at what you've got in those indexes and trying to figure out what works well with each other, and playing them and see what happens. Like my idea with the las cannon predators, I loved playing the predators in 7th edition, but they suffered from the fact that you get one shot, one kill with a lucky melter or las cannon shot, and they blow up, or you get a close combat unit in there with some thunderhammers or power fists, and suddenly they're popping off and it's just flowing over there like one at a time as I see all 3 of them just die in a round of combat. And it was like that doesn't happen now, which is great. So they stick around a lot longer, which is beneficial. And then I was looking at that and I was like, well, Azrael's cheaper now. He also isn't going to get one-shotted. anymore because he never had Eternal Warrior, which was 215 points of non-Eternal Warrior. Just getting one. If you 50-50, if you get shot with a melted,
every character has Eternal Warrior. Why did he not?
He was like the only one. It was insane.
I feel
and all of a sudden it's like a one lucky melt. Like he gets shot in the face with a melty gun,
power
and
fist, and
you've got a 50-50 chance of him just getting like wiped off the board because he had this 4-up invul.
I think I fusion gunned him in the face.
Yeah,
I played you.
Yeah, many people have. He dies very quickly. I think Sterling. I got into combat with him with his like Chaos Lord on a bike. He's like, I use the power fist and I hit him, and I'm like, well, he's dead. And he's like, no, he's not dead. He's like, he's your chapter master. I'm like, yeah, he's dead. He's like, well, that was like 1 wound. I'm like, yeah, but it was 8, so like, he's dead.
It's
a
secret.
Yeah. Don't let anyone else know that he sucked in 7th edition. But yeah, so now he was going to stick around a lot longer, and his buffs seemed to work really well with that stuff. So I was like, oh, let me just see how these work together. And the answer is they work well.
Oh, okay.
But they worked well together. But I think it's like one of those things where it's like that worked well, but other things didn't work quite as well. I had some luck with my flyer in some previous games, but he didn't do as well for me in this one because he draws a lot of aggro.
Yeah,
draws a lot of aggro when you're looking at him, and it's
in our game it was the only model on my side of the table, and all I had were bolters, so it drew all the bolters.
It drew all the bolters. Yeah. When I was playing the one against the orcs,
see, I could shoot at. No, that's it.
That's it. Yeah. When I was playing the one against the orcs, he looked at it and he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna focus fire everything on that flyer," and I was like, ooh, that's not great.
Yeah, the thing puts out a lot of damage.
It does put out a lot of damage. D3, strength 10, strength 10 hits that do 3 damage each, and on a 3-up when he's fully healed, he does an additional D3 mortal wounds.
Oh yeah,
and then he's got 24 shots from the hurricane bolters. 24 shots because they're rapid fire 6 now, so you get within 6 inches, which is easy to do with a flyer now. And you've got some Helidaka going in there. Yeah.
Are hurricane bolters just in general, like, how many did you say it was?
It's 4 points and they're rapid fire 6.
Rapid fire 6.
Yeah,
okay.
rapid fire 6. So you get within 12 inches because it's basically just 6. They're just 6 bolters. You get within 12 inches, and suddenly they're putting out because there's 2 of them on there. You're putting out 24 shots.
Yeah,
and it's kind
gross.
of it's gross. It's super gross. And it's got the strafing run, so he's hitting.
I remember it being gross. And you don't have to convince me. I was there.
Yeah, he was there.
I think that was my first game I played against an all custode army. And I think like one of the hardest things I had to deal with the fight is everything was hitting on 2s.
Yes,
like literally everything. I'm like,
this is an 8th edition.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like literally, and I'm like, oh, sweet, your Land Raider move, thank Christ, it's shooting my plane. Oh, no, Power of the Machine Spirit means it's going to hit on the 2 anyway. I'm like, fuck!
Yeah, he ignores that.
Oh, okay, great, awesome. Let's go. Now, one thing, I learned a couple of lessons from the Eldar I ran. Wave Serpents are amazing again.
Yeah.
I need like a
for
couple
different
more.
reasons.
Well, the Roomba
that was great.
What was hilarious. And like I was like, why are you charging me with my time? It's like, so you can't shoot me next turn when you run away. Like, but also the Serpent Shield now. They reduce all damage they take by 1 to a minimum of 1.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which is super nice. Also, when you combine it with a 10-point upgrade called Spirit Stones, they if you roll a dice on a roll of a 6, it ignores any wound that's done to it.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
Yeah, like on my first game against one of the O'Donnells with the custodes there, he shot like
Robin.
Robin. Yeah, Robin.
He shot my plane or my Hemlock Wraith Fighter like 7 times. And it did it did like 7 damage. I'm like, well, I'm going to take 1 away for Serpent Shield, so it's 6. And then I rolled like 5 6s and ignored. So like he shot all these last cannons and it knocked it down. So Wave Serpents, I need more.
Yeah,
more Wave Serpents.
You may want to look at that because it might be -1 for each shot. Because I think it's just it takes whatever the damage is.
Yeah,
it's -1, so it's not like the combined damage. I think it's per
shot.
Is
felt
the damage.
Super dirty.
Yeah, no, it's very dirty, but
it gets dirtier.
But it can be dirtier.
You want to tongue your anus, it doesn't.
The other thing I need more of is Hemlock Wraith Fighters. I ran 1.
Yeah.
Those are just fucking gross. It moves like 2 to 60 inches when it's fully wounded. It's got 2 heavy D sights.
2 to 60?
20
to
60.
60.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 heavy D sights, so that's D3, strength 10, AP -4,
Ugh.
auto hitting wounds.
Ugh, gross.
The
8-inch range?
No, 12, I think.
12-inch range.
No, 8. You're right.
Okay,
but you're moving 16 inches, so who the hell cares?
No,
So you're auto hitting, and it does like 2 damage each.
Yeah.
And it also, as a psyker, can smite.
Yeah. Ugh, gross.
So like there was a couple times like I was able to kill Greyfax in Robin's army because I just flew my plane right behind him. Like, you're the closest target now. I smite you.
Yeah.
And also deflamer you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was super cool. I needed another one of those. I ran D-sites. Wraiths with D-sites.
Yeah.
Not great.
Really?
Why? They killed.
It just so hard to get them in with.
Yeah, they didn't really kill anything. Like I had them in a wave serpent. And because flamers like have an 8-inch range now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would have to move my wave serpent super far up. I have to wait a turn to deploy. So all they need to do is move and surround my wave serpent. And because their bases are so big, I can't deploy them. Like that happened in the first game. Like Robin did a great job of kind of like surrounding it in a way where there was no possible way I could deploy them without moving.
Yeah.
So they go stuck in a tank. Tank dies, and then 5 models with toughness 5, 3 wounds each out in the open are not going to survive.
Yeah.
So they died super quick. And that's
do you have any Gorka Marka bases? Because then you could probably do it. Because you get a 3-inch bubble.
I would need 2 bases.
One for each foot.
Yeah, one for each foot. But yeah, that was that. So and that's like almost 250 points for that unit. And it didn't really kill anything all day.
Yeah.
Fire dragons are still rad.
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I brought 2,000 points. I didn't kill anything.
No, that's not true. Your 2,000 points killed 1,000 points of yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said I think moving forward, I think more hemlocks. Is in order. It was super rad.
Like all the bombs and stuff. Like looking over the like anything that does mortal wounds, like especially automatically.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be the win.
That is.
In a
that's
way.
going to be. I think that's going to be a big difference.
There's a lot of mortal.
There is a
wounds
lot of
out
mortal.
there.
wounds
yeah. They're easy to get.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel unfair.
No,
or
it doesn't. No.
Like my game with Thomas, I posted a picture on my Twitter, like that beautiful Death Guard army,
yeah.
like the super converted.
Yeah.
Like his Chaos Sorcerer cast it like a spell, but then perils. And then he did that reroll into continuing to perils, and then ended up doing like 2 wounds to himself.
So you did that, and he did that.
No, he did that. I didn't do that.
Oh,
he did
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Eldrad perils. I did 3 wounds. Thank Christ he gets a save against mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he survived. And then Typhus perils.
Yeah.
And this was like right when we were beside your guys' table where it's like, peril.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, like the perils of the warp is so much easier now.
Yep.
It's just
it really is.
D3 mortal wounds.
Did he survive?
If he
the
dies,
power goes off.
Yeah.
He died. The power did not go off.
Also, it hurts people near him.
Yeah, he explodes.
Rather than he perils. Let's look up page 178.
Yeah, let's look up this table.
Is that the one where they lose a power? No, that's 3.
Yeah. Let's look at this. Let's look at the table. All right, now we have to figure out which wound. Make that. Yeah, I definitely like the new one. I think it works well, and also to keep like a control on like they talk about like smite spamming. A lot of the ones that it's easy for them to spam librarians and stuff. They've like with the Grey Knights, they give them like a reduced smite where they can only ever do the one mortal wound because there's so many of them.
Do you know who doesn't have reduced smite?
Who?
40-point warlocks.
Oh no!
Where there's a HQ detachment, which lets you take like 5 HQs and nothing else.
Oh yeah, one of those the supreme
dirty
command
hooker.
thing.
I'm a dirty bastard.
Yeah,
it's a dirty boy.
It's true.
But
how strong are they?
Oh, they're really not.
Yeah,
but
probably not
enough to roll smite.
Enough to not be the closest model until they're in smite range.
Yeah, which is why you bring snipers. I was very happy with how my snipers did. My Vindicare, he kind of shat the bed on me.
He didn't do
He
dill.
didn't do dill. He didn't do dill. The
other
first game I
Vindicator
played, out of the
it.
3 turns we did, he rolled 1 to hit twice on the 2 turns that he was trying to shoot. The one against you, he got like 1 shot off and then couldn't see anything worth shooting at. And then I think my third game, the third game is the one that really pissed me off about him. It was the end of the game.
Did he explode?
What? No, he exploded.
Killed my army.
Yeah, killed his whole army. No, it was at the very end of the game, and it was like the last turn, the last shot of the end of the game, and my opponent held 2 objectives. I held 2 objectives, and I was going to win, but I had first blood. Linebreaker.
I felt the same way about my first 2 games.
Yeah,
but I just didn't.
Yeah, so I had this, and I was like right there. But he had line of sight onto his troop master. Yeah. He was playing Yanari and Harlequin, so he had line of sight onto this troop master. His troop master had 1 wound, and I rolled a 2 to hit. Then I rolled a 1 to wound. He needs a 2 to wound because he's a infantry. So I spent my command point to reroll. Back into a 1. So then I had the minor victory versus the major victory.
Yeah.
And because of that, I didn't finish in the top 6.
God,
and I was like, feed the care.
I know it's just my luck, but I think like every single time that I've rolled like with a command point, it's never worked out. It's like,
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna reroll. I got rolled a 1. All right, I need to. Okay. All right, I hit. Yay! Oh, and then I didn't win. Damn it.
Yeah.
I mainly used them to reroll psychics.
Yeah.
Like Smite. Like, God, I'm in love with Smite. But like, if I rolled like a 9 for Smite, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reroll that.
Yeah.
Because I passed, but I'm so freaking close to a D6.
Roll it, or like when you roll a 6 and a 1 on Smite, and you're like, I want to hit that one. Because you get the 10, it becomes D6. It's pretty nuts.
You get the 12, and it does D6.
Yeah, it does D6 to them and D6 to you. Yeah.
So, Ted,
mortal wounds for everybody.
Yay! Group hug.
What do you think you're going to be running next time after your first few
orcs
experiences? Do you have like specific orcs you're thinking about, or kind of how you're going to form your list, or kind of because just kind of seeing the way the games are played and seeing what armies people are taking?
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to be running for orcs?
I don't know. I mean, I think that like I want to do boy heavy. I think that you know, I usually try to stay away from that. But like now, the fact that like I don't have to worry about templates, because that's what I hated about like the previous editions. Is like you had to space everything out. You had to keep everything like a certain distance. Now that I can just like bunch everything up, I am doing a lot of that now. And
really works when your dreadnought blows up. And
okay, except for that.
Yeah, but that's a unit, so it doesn't make a difference. If he was going to hit that unit, he was going to hit that unit anyway.
Oh,
it just comes down when he has to, when
I don't know. You just used words. I don't know what you said.
Well, it's like when your dreadnought blows up, it'll hit the unit.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. I think it would be like boys, and I think like one guy was pointing out that I think I was talking to you about this. Like the battle wagon is a stable gun platform, and like the rules confer to the squad. So being able to take like a unit with heavy weapons and march that vehicle forward and shoot as though you were stationary when it's like flash gits, hitting on 4s.
Yes.
Oh, you played against flash gits.
That's turn 1. That's what I had. He had a bunch of flash gits inside of a battle.
What's that guy's name? Jake. Okay,
and it was
he's cool.
He's super cool, super nice guy. Yeah, and flash gits running up in a battle wagon.
He was the one that told me about that.
Yeah, he was the one that ran it to very good effect against me. So.
Do have 5 battle wagons.
Yeah, but I
do have 48 Ludus.
Oh God,
the Ludus you don't need it. I mean, I think
they're still heavy.
They're 48-inch range,
but they're heavy weapon.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be like the flash kits. I think is the way to go, just because like 24-inch range, like you have a decent AP. Was it 3 shots, right?
And that models are fantastic.
Yeah.
The models are amazing.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be really cool. Well, theoretically, I would never know, and I would have no way of finding out.
I do have 10 flash kits.
There you go, man. I think can you put 20 in there? I think you put 20. Yeah, because they don't count as bulky.
Hey, look at us putting the orcs back in mob rules.
Yeah.
Only took 2 years.
We're about to change our logo to a fist. Half fist, half hand. Maybe just be a shocker.
Oh man! Just do the 40K cover, but just have like a shocker in front of it there. Oh man!
Yeah.
How to get your podcast rated mature for sure.
I think I'll also I've been playing a lot of Morkanauts in the past. I don't like the custom Mega Blasta anymore. Like the fact that because I mean, anytime you roll a 1. You're doing a mortal wound to yourself.
Oh.
So, and now that you get like a high rate of fire compared to before, because I think it's like heavy D6 or something like that. Like, if you roll like me, you're more than likely going to get a bunch of 1s.
6 mortal wounds.
Yeah, every turn. There's 16 of them. You're dead. So I think like that. The Gorkanaut seems like the way to go. So I mean, the force field isn't as awesome. Like being is that it's like only units that are wholly within like 6 inches, and like if you have 30 boys, there's no way.
No, I think that was the same last edition though.
No, it was like
the custom force field.
It was everybody who was within 6 inches. Now it's every unit that's wholly within 6 inches.
So you have partial unit coverage, right?
Well, no, because it says wholly. So the whole unit.
No, I mean like before in 7.
Yeah.
So if you had like a squad of 30, but only 10 were in the cover, that didn't matter. Those 10 still got the cover.
So you did this like wedge thing to where like you were shooting the guys that had cover at first until then the other guys kind of piled in. So I'm not a big fan of that. So that might not be as big a war gear option.
Yeah, but they're not going to go. They're not going to go poof with one lucky les cannon shot anymore, which is nice. So that's what they used to say.
Yeah.
So as Hog said about how that happened like all the time every time you play with me with that.
But I think the Gorkanaut, like that's, I think that one's going to be a really good one because like what is it, 2d6 shots? Like it's strength 5 -1 or whatever, which isn't that amazing. Yeah. But like I think it also gets like dice, man. Yeah, and it also gets something else in hand to hand, doesn't it? Get like an extra attack or like it hits extra times or something like that. Like it has a special buff.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be really cool.
Nice.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm so far from understanding orcs in the new edition.
Yeah. I think everything's like fundamentally changed. So it's gonna take a while before I think everyone kind of understands.
What about you, Phil? What you changing?
I think I'm gonna drop the flyer. I thinking about dropping my assassins because I had many times when they didn't do what I wanted them to do, but they're so much cheaper in this new edition.
Oh yeah,
that it's like I drop my Eversor and it's like 70 points. Yeah. 70 points for the Eversor.
Who got
90
beat
points
the shit up by a tactical squad until you beat the shit out of my guys.
So bad, so poor. But he didn't do everything I wanted him to do. I had visions of him like dropping 9 inches away and getting into combat and just like ripping things apart. But for 70 points, I mean, what am I going to replace that with? You know what I mean? I can get
a tactical squad.
A tactical squad. That's it. A 5-man tactical squad with
no
upgrades. So I'm getting less wounds between them and less fun stuff to use with. So for 70 points, I mean, I think my assassins are going to stay because my Vindicare is nice.
Show up just like next to a board edge.
No. Every single assassin now, if you hold them in reserve, they can at the end of your movement phase show up 9 inches, more than 9 inches. So basically, like deep strike, more than 9 inches away from any enemy unit. But he has a 3d6 charge, so his 9-inch charge is much more handleable with that than.
What was the Calidus? She could do something kind of like that. It's not the 3d6 charge, but she's able to get into hand to hand too. Like she has to be like 2 inches away or
something like that. Yeah. She has like something like that where if, when you put her in, she does that. And there's another one where it's like,
and I think like the Vindicare, like you can put him somewhere where he doesn't get good fire arcs. I think is his deal. Right?
No, that's the special
behind
that's
buildings.
That's the special fill maneuver. Yeah, we're gonna put him inside the bunker so he's perfectly safe and can't do anything
without any fire points.
But
he spends
cool
a whole battle polishing his gun.
Exactly. But if you can get a good fire arc with him across the table, I mean, like he just sits back there. If he's in cover, it's a -2 to hit. He's a -1 to hit normally if he's like out in the middle of nowhere, but a -2 to hit and cover, like you have ones that are hitting on 2 pluses suddenly hitting on 4 pluses. Like that's a huge difference. It makes a major difference there. And suddenly guys who have 5 up shooting can't shoot him at all. And that gets kind of brutal. And he's a character, so you can't pick him off. And his gun's really good at taking out characters. So I think I'm going to keep him on too. But I think I'm going to drop the flyer. I definitely need more options to get out from my gun line and grab objectives and getting into other people's faces, because that was the big thing that I felt with my list that I was lacking, was the ability to get up the board, because I had my big strong fire ports with the predators in that little death ball there that were shooting down the board, and I was pretty good at picking off like big heavy units.
I think your flyer was good. I mean, but I think that it was like it died fast. But when it's the only thing up there and it's the only thing that people can shoot at, and it's in people's gristle, it has a high level of threat. But it's not that expensive,
it's
right?
188 points now.
That's not terrible. Yeah, land speeders are like they're expensive now. 100 points.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
It's like 80 points plus your
land speeder storms.
I
don't have access to them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait. Keyword Imperium, dude.
But then they're not going to receive any of the benefits.
Doesn't matter.
Like
dude, whatever. You're just running them forward to.
That's true.
You're just running them forward to grab shit.
Yeah, I might try bikers, because I was thinking someone was talking about.
But my point is, like, you ran up there and you did a high level of damage before he died. Like, it's totally like a one shot like glass cannon. You do that. You accept the fact that like that's going to draw a lot of fire, and then by then you have all your other guys in position, which just means they shuffled a couple inches, like shot with las cannons.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think that, like, I look at that and I look at your Eversor. Your Eversor, I think like we decided that it did just barely more than its points.
Yeah.
So it made its points back. Plus, it was a distraction, because like all that stuff that my objective was to march everything forward, and there was a point where I had to turn a dreadnought around to like take care of your flyer.
Yep. And you also had to drop your drop pod at your own table edge, basically, so that you could handle the Eversor that was back there
instead of taking your objective.
Yeah,
contesting.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So I think it did really good.
Yeah, I might drop one of the scout sniper squads in order to take a tactical squad with like maybe flamers. I might also
snipers are expensive.
Yeah, they're 90. It's like 90 points with camo cloaks and sniper rifles. And then I'm also thinking about the Black Knights. Like, they were good, but they weren't. I think I might drop them down to maybe a 3-man squad.
Oh, okay.
And then using because it's like they're like 50 points per.
Well, those guys would have been dead if you took a 3-man squad.
Yeah, well,
that's Scorpius them.
Yeah,
to death.
that's true. So I think I might try to take a 3-man squad with them and then bring up like regular bikers with flamers, which might be nice because that might increase the amount of DACA that I have against hordes.
Oh, okay.
Because I had trouble against hordes when I played against the orcs. So I've just got to figure some way to balance that out a bit. You know, with the heavy hitting of the las cannons. I really like that little Death Star of pain. You know, they do really well with all those las cannons. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm definitely going to tweak it a little bit to see what I can do. But I'm happy with the base.
Yeah. So John, you were saying hemlocks would be another hemlock.
Yeah, hemlocks. I do feel like I'm still going to go to Marines. I don't know, just something the way they played or the way I see Eldar playing.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of. I should spam D weapons. Like that's where everything is appropriately pointed. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. And like I said, I like the idea of Primaris and like I was going to be running Primaris. Like I have enough assembled to run like a full 2K of Primaris. But like the night before, I was like looking at it, I'm like, it's just they're not flexible enough right now.
Yeah.
They kind of suffer a little bit from that, and I'm still there to go and have fun and everything, but also not to get tabled in the first turn of every game because all of my squads are 5-man units with no upgrades.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see how much there's a lot of weapons that do 2 damage, and so I think Primaris are really cool up until there's 2 damage.
They get shot.
And it's like, oh, I just paid an extra 6 points or whatever for that dude,
and they don't have the invul saves. They don't have any of the things that Terminators are better with those 2 wounds because they've got the ability to weather some of that shooting even with 2 wound.
But I
think the Primaris are going to be interesting because it's going to be situational. Like, are you going up against bolters and las guns? Then hey, this is great.
Yeah,
I feel they're going to be way better in a new Marine book. I think this is kind of just to tide us over a little bit until the
new Recon Marines that are coming out.
Those guys look super cool.
Okay, so the new Recon Marines, the
Reavers,
the Reavers that came out. Their upper bodies look amazing, and their faces look so cool, and their arms look great.
Legion of the Dan helmets. Yay!
Yeah, but they skip leg day. I can't. I can't get over. I don't know. I've just seen years, 30, 40 years of these thick marine pauldrons at the bottom where the bell bottoms out, and now all of a sudden we have schoolboy short legs.
Yeah,
where it's super.
That's because they're the long distance runners. They're sprinting. Yeah, they're running up there. They're not shot putting regular Marines.
What's interesting is that if you just filled in the gap, it would be a bell bottom. So you have the bell at the bottom, and then you have this section that's missing.
They have
you have
skinny
the
ankles.
Of it. That's all it is. You have the girth of the bell bottom at the bottom, but then there's that little gap that's missing.
I'm not a fan of that part.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the skull faces, the Mad Max half skull face.
Oh, so cool,
so cool, so very.
And
cool.
What is it that the muscle, the flayed muscle thing,
that looks really cool. The fiber stuff that they've got there.
Super good. I think it's super interesting. They put down that they're easy to build. They're promoting that. It almost makes Primaris your starter army because it's look at all the models. They click, click, click. They're all together. Great. If you like that, find there's more complicated shit over here.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. How they play on the table.
And I think that's kind of the emphasis. I think they're really making these the starter set and then all these other starter set-esque things that they're coming out with. I think the aim is to make the Primaris Marines a good starting army if you're just getting into the hobby. If you don't want, you don't
need as many of them. They're easier to paint because they're bigger.
Exactly, and they're and you don't need to be a plastic card master like you, Ted, to make them look.
People who can't use plastic cards should just quit the game.
All right, Phil, let's quit.
Yeah.
Well, you got that Terminator that's opening a door, and you got the Gatling gun pigs.
That's right.
I do like though that I have a big Eldar army, I have a big Imperial Fist army, I have a big Orc army. I like that I have options now, I guess.
Yeah.
So I can be what do I want to run today? And I don't be I have to run Eldar because I'm playing something that isn't a mirror match.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. So there's parts of me that's I look at my Imperial Fist cabinet, I'm man, I'm excited to run that. I'm going to do that. But at the same time, I'm flash kits aren't terrible now. And I ran them a bunch in 7th.
Yeah.
Or I wonder what it'd be if I just filled up nothing but heavy support. Ted, you know how long have you waited for a Force Org chart that is nothing but heavy support slots?
Yep.
In my case, it's elites because I could use all the dreadnoughts.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
Yes. But yeah.
I felt like such an asshole, but then I was like, wait, no, it's Iron Hands. Of course they would.
Yeah, exactly. Or like like I said with your orcs, because like as an orc player,
for orcs.
Yeah, as an orc
you're
player, like the thing I was like, I never had enough heavy support slots.
Yeah.
There's so much cool shit I wanted to throw in, and it was all in that heavy space.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, who gives a crap? Just do 2 spearheads.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that gives me 12 heavy slots.
Yeah.
So like I said, I don't know where I'm going next. It's kind of overwhelming and amazing, and great too. Just like, what do I do?
Yeah. I definitely have to once I'm done with the Primaris guys that I've got, I need to bulk out my Death Watch and my Gene Stealer cult, because I pointed it out in my Gene Stealer cult come up to 1,500, like almost 1,500 points exactly with everything that I have built and painted. I'm like, goo.
I
need to get back to the drawing board with those.
Finish my Primaris Marines, and I need to build my last cannons.
Build all your las cannons.
Yes.
I have a 20 Forge World upgrade.
Yeah.
Las cannons are sick in this
good.
edition. D6 damage.
Yes. Is pretty awesome. And that's another reason I kind of want to leave my Vindicare in there, because if you see Roboot Ghoulie Man going out there,
oh, it's fine, bro. He gets back up again.
Yeah, I know, but then he, hopefully goes to shoot him again. Yeah, exactly. That's the hope. That's why that's why my list I brought a bunch of snipers and
I
sniper
didn't
scouts,
see a
because I was
single
like,
girly man there.
There wasn't one.
There was
I was expected to see like multiple lists with him, and
for all the bravado and all the competitive talk we have about how great girly man is and how much how good he is, he was not present at all.
He was not there.
Was Magnus there?
No, I didn't see a Magnus.
I didn't see a Magnus.
Okay.
I also didn't. Was there a call? There was
call. Yeah, the reporter, the winner had a call.
Yeah, there was also a Bio Titan.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Someone took advantage. I gave him a bunch of shit about it. I was like, oh man, they drop restrictions for one tournament and you're taking your Bio Titan.
Why not?
To be fair, he doesn't get to play with it often. So.
No.
And he didn't win. He didn't even finish top.
Well, did they ban those in ICC?
Yeah. Last time. Before.
I know last time they did.
Oh,
but this
no.
time?
Recently, this new one, there's no ban.
There's no ban
yet.
Okay.
So.
Most likely Forge World will be gone. Most Forge World.
You think so?
Will we be banned?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
It seems to me that as like a sub company, Forge World got a memo that was like, to Forge World, we are releasing new edition in 1 month. Please update. Please update all rules for all models. Like, shit. Okay. You are 100 points. You are 100 points.
Yeah.
Shit. Your gun is 50. Okay.
Yeah.
So like it just.
I noticed like a lot of the orc stuff, like the lifter droppa and like a lot of those things, they just got like the flavor nerf.
Right.
It's like the lifter drop is just like random hits,
which is kind of understandable. Like we lived through like the change from 2nd to 3rd edition, where like this kind of happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like the Corsair army list.
Yeah.
There's no more. There's no special Corsair slots or Corsair, and it's just kind of units that can be slotted. And I said it really feels like not to anyone's fault, because a change of this magnitude is crazy hard to do.
Yeah.
It just there's subs like the Gargantuan Squiggoth is 400 to 500 points depending on how you kit it out.
Mm-hmm.
It is like 35 wounds.
Wow, that's a grip.
Yeah, it's legit, really good, really well pointed.
Mm-hmm.
The Skatash Wraith Knight is a little underpointed again, even compared to kind of the base Wraith Knight that we have right now. So it just. I feel too many inconsistencies.
Yeah, I noticed that like some of the weapons were different than the normal book. So like a Stormbolter was 2 points in the Astartes book, and then it's like 4 points in the Forge World one.
Right. So like I said,
and then there's like units that are like going through the orc list. I know we talked a little bit on Facebook about that, but like the Mega Dread, which is something that people buy. It's not going out of style, but it like straight up wasn't in the book. Like I think there was like a few entries where it was like, wait, where's that thing? Like some of it made sense because like they haven't made that in a while, or else it was like phased out when they brought in like the new flyers or something.
Yeah. So like I said, I feel they were very rushed.
Yeah.
They're I think at capacity kind of maintaining heresy right now. So like considering they have a new Imperial armor coming out with Tau versus AdMac.
Oh, okay.
They have Horus Heresy going, full speed ahead.
And they're supposed to be coming up with a new rule set for that.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that.
Right. They're modifying 7th and kind of sticking with that for the time being. I think again because the whole I'm sure it was more than a month that they got, but no amount of time is going to be enough to make 4 books worth of information for an entire company's worth of model range to kind of update. So I think while that kind of imbalance is there, I think it's just going to be a carpet ban. Hopefully not, because there's a lot of cool toys.
Yeah,
there's a lot of weird stuff as well, like the Super Heavies detachment. Space Marines can take no Forge World Super Heavies at 2,000 points because all of their Super Heavies from Forge World are relics. By their rule, no detachment can contain more relics than non-relic unit of the same slot. So the only Lord of War for Space Marines is Robuke Guilliman.
Okay.
And the Terminus Ultra. Combined are 1,000 points. At a Spartan, that's like 1,600 points for 3 models to legally run a Spartan. And then, Fellblades. So again, like I understand, but it's until it's.
It'd be interesting to see, because you can't take the. Well, I guess you can't. Yeah, because you can't even do like the auxiliary choice because there's one relic.
There's only one relic, and that means you have more relics than non-relics.
Yep.
So I think it's interesting. I think the benefit of this edition and the way they're running things is I think we're going to see change quickly.
Yeah.
Like I honestly feel soon we're going to get like a special like 1 per army detachment of super heavy relic. Okay. One slot. Yeah. So we can get those toys in. I can run my Spartan, like other stuff like that. But yeah, if you're like not an Ultramarine player, having to run 2 Terminus Ultras in order to run 1 Spartan is a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I said, until that's balanced out, I don't know. I mean, we didn't see huge amounts of Forge World on Saturday.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, a couple of Cheese Lords took some Scorpiuses.
Yeah, I saw Scorpius.
Yeah, Christ.
God,
Oh my god.
But yeah, like I said, because there seems to be a little bit of an imbalance right now. That it might just be easier to just wash hands until. Forge a narrative. Keep it playing on the friendly games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like like if I was playing a friendly game, I'd be like, hey, do you mind if I take a Spartan? Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
I could see them maybe for a time being taking out the Titans for, you know what I mean, like almost like what they had previously. Because anything else that you can fit into a Force Org, I don't like as much as you like. I think there's probably a points difference that I think we'll probably get, because I think that's the whole point that they've done this the way they've done it with buying the war gear and everything like that, that they have the ability now to kind of balance out without having to invalidate entire books.
Right.
So they'll probably get one from Forge World sooner than later.
I think
for that.
The profiles are right. The profiles are good. The points need to be fixed.
Yeah. Maybe. I know that I think as long as we don't think of it in like 7th terms, like when we look at a model, like we look at a Titan, who's like, damn, a D cannon, like that does a lot of damage. I could take out my Land Raider or something like that. But like I think like also now that we're going into this like new meta where it's like he who rolls the most dice wins. Like it's always kind of been that way, but now it's like more so because las guns can take down Titans.
Yeah,
which is hilarious. And
awesome. So man, those conscripts are good. But I think like that's going to be interesting too. Is like also trying to like remember like when you look at the points is like it's probably like weight of fire is a big deal, and like if you have like knights. Talking to a lot of people, they're like, yeah, knights just don't own like they used to. And granted, knights were kind of like they either did really well or they didn't. And now it's like, all right, great, I can go up there and like do 3 wounds to that like unit of boys, but the boys are just gonna clamor all over it hand to hand,
sure.
and so they just can't put out enough fire.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just I don't know. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'd say
it'd be interesting to see how things go in the next couple months.
I think the real first taste of Forge World new 40k is going to be with the new Imperial armor, where they've had their time, and they can appropriately kind of put it the AdMech stuff and all that other kind of stuff.
Oh, it's going to excite a lot of people.
It's going to be good. I'm excited for that one.
Should be good.
Sweet. Oh, I just real quick. Did you guys see that article in Bella Lost Souls about the best weapon to take out vehicles?
What is the best weapon to take out vehicles?
Plasma.
Oh,
and did you see like what they said?
No.
Like I didn't realize that like when I was going through it, but like most of the stat lines of the plasma weapons, if you do like the overcharge, it says at the end like for every if you roll a 1, the bearer is slain, and that's the case with all but one plasma weapon in the game, like so far in like the Imperium. So like the Land Raider. The one with like the twin plasmas, like if it rolls a 1, the Land Raider's gone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that updated.
The Lehman Russes, they have it where they've got something called like plasma vents or something where it does D6 mortal wounds or 6 mortal wounds instead of like slaying the entire.
I think that updated
rust, but
in
still.
that updated in the digital rule book to
okay.
be only like D3 wounds or D6 for a tank, because it was kind of ridiculous for a tank shoots gun once.
Yeah.
Kaboom!
Because the Storm Raven was the only one that said it did like 1 mortal wound or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. I have this like 300-point model just like, oops, bloop.
Yeah. Azrael has his plasma that does that. It will slay him if he does. But the thing is, he's hitting on 2s
just like the
and re-rolling all misses. So
nice.
odds are you're not going to roll that one.
Unless you're Phil.
Unless
you're me.
Or Ted.
Because Lord knows I can do that.
Just like the good old days of Azrael getting killed by plasma.
Exactly. Now I'll just do it myself. It's like, if you guys can't do it, I'll do it myself. Thank you very much. As his master-crafted relic that's been there for like thousands of years blows up in his hands and takes him down.
How did I not see this? I know you intimately.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never had a girlfriend, but I've had a plasma pistol. I should know this thing.
I've had this plasma gun
That's a t-shirt
forever.
right there. I've never had a girlfriend, but I've had a plasma pistol. And just like a little outline of a plasma pistol.
That would be nice.
Well, it's a good split. I still really enjoyed it. Like, I lost 2 games majorly, and I won 1 game narrowly.
Yeah, same here.
But it was a really, really, really good time. Like I said, even like the 2 guys who totally tabled me, like fantastic games. I learned a lot. I learned deployment, like, and movement. Is really hard. Like, I forced the Matt to have to put his Dread Knights. I gave him like 2 positions on the table the Dread Knights could go, because when they're deep striking in, I spread out all my guys, so there's no way you can go in this third of the table because you're never further away than 9 inches. Didn't help me, but it was nice to be like, okay, so that's super, super helpful. It is kind of like owning the table that way.
Also, that roll to see who places the first objective it makes a big difference, because I won that, quote unquote, won that roll off every game that I played.
But you lose.
I lose. But you basically lose is because your opponent knows that, okay, well, I'm going to be placing the last objective, and then I get to choose the deployment zones and choose what I'm going to do with that. So even if you play in a tournament where they specify what the deployment type has to be, they still know what deployment zone they're going to be in and know what they're doing. So once you place your first objective, they then can control from there where it's going to go, because they can
more camping on objectives.
Exactly. They can put all of their objectives to that one deployment zone, and they don't have to worry, because they can be like, all right, this is the side that I want. You know what I mean?
How was that like that Iron Hands player you played against, and they put like 3 objectives on his side?
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, well, this doesn't seem fair. I'm going to move this one. I'm like, no. That's like exactly how it's supposed to be, which is why.
So jank.
Yeah, but that's how it works. It's like, I place one, you place one, and then I place my second one, and you go, all right, well, which side now, which deployment zone now has the 2? I can make it have 3, and now I can control that. Which is, I did that 3 times, and that hurt me, especially my list. That's why I'm thinking about wanting to get more units to get up there and try to get objectives, because 3 times it happened, and 3 times I've got to figure out like how I can get up into the opponent.
Good thing like you were not able to turn that game around, because like ever since I was able to put those 3 in my deployment zone, like you were just hosed. Like, if I were you, I'd have just quit.
Flip the table.
Yeah,
I'm done with this. I can't believe I won that roll off.
If you wouldn't mind going back to the store and telling them that you quit.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted should have won that game.
Because I forgot that I'd actually rage quit and didn't realize
that tournament a week ago that neither of us were in the top 6 for. Ted actually won that game.
Top 20.
Oh man,
that'd be great.
I was 26 out of 25.
Were you really?
No. That's a mathematic impossibility.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I didn't know if someone dropped and you still failed.
Still failed. That's happened before. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about Ultramarines or do something else. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You're listening to this shit. I don't know.
The new Mark IIIA uses a ceramite overplus steel with a buttressed carbon composite frame.
what? Oh yeah, which one of those is it?
All of them.
Oh neat. Hey, is this a cup holder?
Yes, the driver's compartment has a cup holder as an optional accessory.
No way. Shut up. Cup holders?
Well, not everybody has a life support system, so for the exploratory group of mortals we found,
Cup holders? I'll take it.
Mark IIIA also has a traditional quad thermoreactor.
Hey, do you think I could try it out?
Well, of course, the ignition is on the dash right.
I brought my favorite travel mug. I got it in this amazing bakery in the Segmentum just outside of Armageddon a few years back. Oh my gosh, perfect fit.
So anyway, as you can see, the new Mark IIIA has a power coupler interface in the top hatch to allow for jewelry, weapon components that can be...
Does this have a heater in it? I hate it when recaf gets cold. If the coffee holder had a heater, that would just make my day.
We hadn't considered that, as most chapters use a Stardate drivers, and most of you as Stardates don't drink recap. But I suppose we could build you something.
Great, you tech priests are the best.
Do you want to see the comms unit specs?
No, I'm good.
Is there anything that can...
No, we'll take 11 of them. Thank you. The Emperor protects.
Space Marines hate change. How would you ever convince him to upgrade to the new Mark IIIA?
Cup holders, believe it or not.
Oh, cup holders.
Brand new Mars pattern Mark IIIA Rhino. New with cup holders. So welcome back.
Hey.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
At least I didn't get the whole story.
That's right. All right.
Oh, X's.
Oh, boy.
That was actually a quote from Robu Gilliman.
Oh, man. Nice
The
segue.
sex was so good that I had to rub one out afterwards.
Exactly, yeah. He said that to Celestine.
That was part of the ceremony Bryn had to do. It was a quick handy in the back.
I've never had a girlfriend, but I've had a plasma missile. But I've had Emperor's sword.
-2 to virginity. So we're also today going to talk about Ultramarines. So like before we
The new hotness.
Yeah, the new old new hotness. So beforehand, like we talked about Death Guard, and then we took our little break to kind of you googly and
You mean you googly 8th -1, right? Cause
yeah, 8th -1. Yeah, 7th is bad luck, as I mentioned in any form of media now. So you were talking about we were going to talk about Primaris, but kind of I'm reading through Dark Imperium right now, and I'm like, ooh, there's way more stuff we can talk about after that book.
Have you been reading that, Phil?
I haven't gotten that one.
Okay.
I was reading that.
It's good.
Okay,
it's good.
So we got to do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if Siri will read it to me.
and then you'll jerk off afterwards.
Man, the book was so good I had to rub one out afterwards.
But we're going to kind of talk about the other half of the Dank Imperium box set, the Ultramarines. And like the only living, known of living Primarch and Bobby Robute Gilliman.
There's definitely another one
That
who's
his
living,
sires.
who is just hitting the snooze button over and over again, apparently in the rock, because he just won't wake up.
By the way,
and make a model.
By the way, Phil, it's like the floor is loyalty.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, that's such a good meme,
man.
Such a good meme. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Ultramarines. Obviously, on my research day, I decided to get surprise work inspections, so I'd stay late and do anything. Phil thought we were talking about Dark Angels.
That's like every day.
That's what I ran them as.
Tell me about Ultramarines. Well, they wear green armor.
They wear green armor.
And
they always drop into drop pods with their heavy weapons, and they always re-roll their Devastators first round.
and they have, unlike Dark Angels, they have access to graph cannons.
No. They have access to graph cannons, Dark Angels as well, but unlike Dark Angels, they have access to the drop pods that take them down and let them shoot without.
You know what,
without
Phil? We're not
snap
fucking talking about Dark Angels.
So now you can't.
I mean, you might not be.
So now you can't play Dark or Ultramarines again.
Yeah, I'm never, well,
you got rid of Skyhammer.
yeah, exactly. Although if I paint up Gilliman as green and then run them as
you're going to, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I might.
I have a golden Gilliman.
I'm excited about that. Like the Emperor.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, no, like Rogel Dorn. Dorn had gold armor.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Like that one guy did like a really simple conversion where he just like gave it like long bitch hair and it became like the Emperor. It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was so perfect.
My issue though is I feel the Emperor would be at least twice that size.
Maybe
not in his current
Probably.
form.
Yeah, not in his current
form, but later. But yeah, but Ted luckily
maybe you could just do a head swap with like with a skull head. And then you could just run him as the Emperor now.
Nagash.
Yeah, exactly. Just put that head onto the model, onto Roboot, and it becomes the Emperor.
I'm just going to make a live Emperor, grab a giant model from the fantasy range, like, the big gun and stuff like that. Because, dad bod.
Yep, dad bod.
See, like, I think like a year and a half ago, you would have just brought out a John Cena action. The new John Cena's hard.
Well, to be fair, that was Eric. I always supported his John Cena ways and the Cena Karen.
The scene of Charon.
Did you not see the scene?
I did. I did. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, you can't see him, so you're lying.
Exactly.
I did appreciate that, but yeah, I'm more fluff based.
Okay.
Way less fun and competitive. But yeah, so the Ultramarines, the pride of the Imperium.
Yeah.
One of the most divisive chapters for the fan base.
Yeah. Seriously.
They were voted most likely to tattle on you in middle school.
You know who wasn't most likely to tattle? Dark Angels.
That's exactly. They know how to keep their goddamn mouth shut.
But yeah, super.
It was a crack horse.
Super divisive. Lots of Ultramarine hate.
Yes.
Why? Why do people hate Ultramarines?
You posted that on 40K fans. I want to hear some of their responses because I have my thoughts too.
So I posted this on Warhammer 40K for grown-ups because I was looking for good, sensible grown-up replies.
Wait, then why'd you go to the internet?
Yeah, exactly.
That was your first mistake.
Comments rated from because they destroyed the perfect city to no clue. They're the literal by the book.
Fan is probably what
okay, that's right.
Easier to hate than think, and people like to jump on bandwagons.
They're an Ultramarines fan.
Yeah.
I hate Space Marines in general, or really any faction that blindly follows religion or a philosophy that oppresses the very people it needs to operate.
That's everybody but Tau.
Yeah. No, Tau. They're like
They don't
space
have a religion.
communists.
Yeah, they don't have a religion though.
Do they?
The greater good.
The greater
It's not
good,
a
man.
religion.
Greater good's
It's kind of like Buddhism, which was technically not a religion if you ask a Buddhist, well, old school Buddhist. But I don't know. Too many
except
qualifiers.
that there aren't too many Buddhists that build like giant shooty machines to go ensure that everyone had the greatest good.
Are you having good?
Yeah, are you having good? You will have the greatest good. Trust us.
I got
once my storm surge sits on you, you will have the greatest good.
Sounds really, really seductive.
Yeah.
sit on my storm.
Sit on my storm surge and tell me that you love me.
Penultimately, the best response I got here was, I don't dislike Ultramarines as much as Ultramarine players.
Oh,
They're often selfish, greedy, and are more than happy to sacrifice others in large games. Who hurt you?
Yeah, seriously.
That sounds way too specific.
Very specific. He's talking about one guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck that guy.
They're selfish and they're greedy and they're more likely to sacrifice you in large games, and he never paid for that pizza.
But the kind of the most I'm popping all over the place. Yeah. The most kind of common theme read throughout is a name more than anything else.
Yeah,
is Matt Ward.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
that is kind of the common denominator that goes through kind of everything. Mm-hmm. He was, and still is, he's back, but a writer, both rules and fiction for Games Workshop. People point to the fact that he was like a huge Ultramarines fan as a reason. Like I think 3rd edition Codex Space Marines was literally called Codex Ultramarines. And people point that out, but like
the 2nd edition one.
I was going to say literally 2nd edition was as well.
Format
was and that was way before. People are kind of pinning blame on that. I talked to you about this a little bit before the podcast, where I'm talking about
we had to censor ourselves.
Yeah, Matt Ward to Games Workshop is very similar to what Rob Liefeld was to Marvel in the 90s.
Yeah,
where there's a certain editorial directive. Like in Liefeld's case, draw giant muscle like things, and tiny hips, giant tits,
no wrists.
Big asses, no wrists,
80 teeth per jaw.
Everybody
has like
that cable art was the worst.
No feet.
No feet.
Everybody has like was it cotton swab hair that was plucked out of a chicken's ass?
Yeah,
yeah. But kind of looking up like how much stuff he's blamed for.
Yeah,
he's blamed for that. He's blamed for Grey Knights having like Mary Sue characters and all this stupid stuff that happened. But again, if you're getting this editorial, like, there's no way he's going up and be like, okay, guys, I got this great idea. This is what's going to happen. They're like, oh, I don't know. That sounds a little ridiculous. Like, no, Games Workshop corporate. This is exactly how it's happening.
Yeah,
this is how the fluff is going. And then also, Jesus, what was I going to say? I forget. It's just, yeah. There's, I think it's a lot of coincidences happening at the same time. But I don't think, like they're saying, well, now they don't list individual authors on the codexes like they used to. They only do like the design team. I honestly think that's because it is the design team doing it in a general. Yeah. Just because they made that change, like because the last book that was released was Matt Ward, who was big and high up there in the design team, doesn't mean necessarily, oh shit, everyone's making fun of you, let's take your name off this.
No.
That also doesn't sound like GW in the past, where they react to the community at all.
Yeah. There's also a lot more people that are working at GW than there were back in the day.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
they actually probably have far bigger design teams that work on these
It's really
things.
not that big as we
Really?
think it is now. But,
Well,
I mean,
I didn't think there were like thousands of them.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's bigger than
From
it
what
was
I
before.
understand, like a lot of those books, even back in the day, like they had, like back when it was like this is a Phil Kelly book or this is a Matt Ward book, is like that would be the person that was kind of like running the team.
Yeah.
But you had everybody else like putting in input, so it wasn't like Matt Ward's book. It was like Matt Ward was kind of directing the train.
Matt
but
Ward
ultimately-
presents a GW Jam.
Or it's like the Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's not Dave Matthews isn't the only one in the band, but like he's just the front man. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and the World Engine, the kind of the Necron big destroyer weapon, that's a Matt Ward original. Castle and Crow was a Matt Ward original. Trazon the Infinite, it was again. So I mean, I don't
Those
think
are super cool characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think you can necessarily blame editorial direction on like a single person. Like I honestly feel GW came down to this company and be like, so we need to sell more blue paint. So Ultramarines are the best now, and they, they have been forever. And I heard you really like Ultramarines. Yeah, I love them. Okay, great, make it so. So I feel that's kind of where a lot of the hate comes from. Also, follow him on Twitter because it's hilarious when people on Twitter call out, "Yeah, fucking Matt Ward piece of shit," and he literally replies every time with, "What I do?" Like, I'm sorry. I've never seen someone cuck so hard away from a comment as when like he shows up there. But yeah, I think I mean, does it even go back to second edition, Tad? Because I mean, they were the poster boys in second edition.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the Space Marine Codex was called Codex of Ultramarines. Yeah, like the they were on the front. They were on the cover. No, they weren't on the cover, but they were like they featured predominantly throughout Rogue Trader. Like a lot of the like, I mean, Crimson Fist were like the big poster boys for first edition, but then like it was still like there was a lot of Ultramarines, and I think like the fluff goes back. Like it's consistent with like old canon, so we can't blame him for it. I think I think they just decided, and we can go into like the history. Like we will. Honestly, the history of them justifies like why they're the poster boys, and I want to go into
and we will. I just wanted to go into the point of like why this one person is solely.
And I think that like one of the things that I think when we would first discuss like whether like what should this episode be yesterday, was just kidding. Come on.
That's such bullshit. You know, it was 2 days ago.
But it was no way we planned, right?
But I think it was like for me, it was like every time we did like a research thing, like I learned a whole lot about an army. Yeah, and I think like this was like one of those things is like it was right there in front of everybody's view. Like Ultramarines have always been like forefront. And like it just felt like there was like some part of this army that like we just don't know about, and I think there's like a lot of it we do because the history of the Ultramarines is the history of Space Marines, because they're so prevalent and because of like they've had more of an impact in the Adeptus Astartes history than anybody else, and it's not just because like GW's like favors them. Yeah, there's a valid reason for it, but there's also a valid rean I think for the hate. But I think that has more to do with the human dynamic, or the human condition. But for sure. No, it's an uninteresting history, but it's also an interesting history because it's an uninteresting history.
Well, I think as well you have to have that baseline for new players to come in. And, like if a player comes in like, well, I don't like space vampires, I don't like space werewolves, I don't like space monks. But I'm not really a fan of blue. And their background is kind of boring. Like, okay, well, you know, this is exactly run it the same. They're the standard way to run a chapter. And then do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. And also from like a logistical standpoint, if you're making a line of miniatures and you want to have painted ones on your website or wherever it is, even if you want them in your catalog the way that you know back in the day, if you're going to have that and you want people to know what is that particular line, if you paint them all the same color, instantly people know, okay, well, that blue tank must go along with the other blue tank and these other blue dudes here because they're all in the same line. And it becomes very easy to pick out right away as opposed to having it these ones painted as Imperial Fist and these ones painted as Ultramarines and then these ones painted to a newcomer who comes into the scene and looks at all those pictures. they don't know if they're all the same army at that point.
Chaos is generally painted red, so if you saw a red, like a Blood Angels tank, you're going to be like, oh, cool, it's Red Corsairs.
I didn't even think about it from, like I said, from the
that's a good
marketing
point.
perspective, where like you can compare all these different units and they're in that one set scheme all the way through.
Scheme. And you look at it and you can instantly look at it and you go, okay, well, these Marine-looking dudes are painted blue, so they're part of the vanilla Marine set. You know what I mean? And, oh, these ones are painted green. They might, or painted whatever color, red. Oh, they must be only for Blood Angels. Really easy to distinguish. These ones are painted like a light blue and have beards. Okay, then they must be they must be Space Wolves. It becomes very easy to distinguish which ones can actually be taken in.
I think that's a super valid point. Like it is absolutely a valid point, and I don't want to marginalize it by my next comment, but I think that.
But here I go.
Yeah,
You're full of shit, Phil.
You look really good, but just change everything. But I think that there's like I think that holds credence. But my fear is that like I think people are going to take that and say like that's the cheap answer to, not that that's like an invalid answer, but like GW's cheapening it by using marketing philosophies. And even though it's true, potentially, like I think that there's a very highly valid fluff reason. Yeah. And that goes back before Matt Ward had pubes.
Yeah.
Like,
no, for sure.
So and so I think like I would really like people to focus on that. So I think that you're right, but I think like let's look at the fluff and embrace that.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying I think the reason they chose the blue to paint them all as is because of the fluff reasons. But if you're looking at it in a marketing way, you have to choose one poster boy to be the ones that carry the flag.
I'm not trying to contradict you.
No, I know you. No. Definitely did not think so. I was saying I think that the fluff informed why they chose the Ultramarines, and then I think people get upset because they're like, well, why can't you try to sell the box with my favorite successor chapter painted on the front of that box? And it's like, well, because from a marketing standpoint they have to choose one, and the one that they went with is because of, like you said, the fluff reasons why they've decided that they're going to be our poster boys. They're the ones that we're going to use to
but
identify
I think that
these.
Osiris's nipple chapter is a much better
exactly It's like, well, that's great, you're free to paint them that way, but it's very hard to market Osiris's nipple.
I think what's super important to take away is just people can't confuse editorial direction with writer output.
Yeah.
Like you talk to the Black Library writers at Adepticon, and like almost every podcast I hear talking about, how to write for the Black Library. It is their sandbox. You are allowed to play in. Mm-hmm. You must do things their way.
Yeah.
Yes. So like I said, we all have jobs. If we're given a task we don't want to do, we're like, well, that sounds kind of stupid. You still have to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just how it is.
Yeah. So you're given a certain amount of leeway, but ultimately, like, you're given that leeway, just that leeway.
Yeah.
And not, it's do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. Like, if a new unit's invented, it's not Matt Ward is going to take the personal financial loss if it sucks and it doesn't do well. So
I mean, I don't generally, like, I love Star Wars, but I don't read like a lot of the novels because I feel like
animal, get the fuck out.
But a lot of times, like, I feel like it's not like as thought out canon, like versus the movies. And I want to.
Did you really read all the old legacy stuff?
No, I didn't. That's why I said I didn't.
but I was like, that's the thing, is you should, because it is
perhaps.
That's for a Star Wars.
But then they got invalidated when Disney bought it. So
so it's jokes on me because I read it all.
Way to live in the past,
nerd. Let's
okay.
I guess move past that.
All
I mean, that to me is kind of the hate in a nutshell. Is misdirected rage.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Of everyone's a special snowflake, my army should be front and center.
Yeah.
Why isn't my Space Marine chapter front and center?
Yes.
And I think like I want to get to that like after this.
Yeah. Go.
Because so we'll just throw this out.
No,
I'm
sorry. No,
okay.
You were saying. You keep on trying to transition to the cool stuff and the stuff that I keep
it's all cool because I think that like the summation for me is like more interesting than like the history. So go ahead and skip to that.
How are the Ultramarines? Well, in summary, the Ultramarines.
Cliff Notes version. Go ahead and skip through that. Okay, so as we know, like they're from McCraig, right? So
yes, right.
They have the Fortress Monastery Hera, which is in the Ultramar realm. So this is like they're very unique in that they have a realm versus like a planet or a system.
Like 500 worlds or something like that.
It's ridiculous. Right? It's composed of 9 systems.
Wow.
So I don't know how many planets are in a system, but
by
more
my
than
math,
3.
50. Yeah, just to mean I'm right.
Okay. So that's it. Like they're massive, and this is like a theme that keeps going on. The Ultramarines, Iron Hands, Luna Wolves were also the original 3 crusading chapters. So they this also goes into why they're part of the best is or the poster boys is they were there at the beginning. They were out there during the Unification Wars in the forefront with Horus's people. This is before the Primarch showed up. And before Luna Wolves, Ultramarines, and Iron Hands had names. It was just the 13th, the 7th, and the 10th. So then but the name, there's a lot of this Roman history that goes on with them. So the name comes from their standing with other chapters. So kind of going, they've always been there's this kind of duality with them, which is also indicative in our gaming culture of they're either loved or they're hated. But imagine that.
Yeah. Oh my God, GW meant to make people think
yes. They're playing. Us players are feeding right into it. And I'm not an Ultramarines fan. I've had one Ultramarines army, which for most people would be oh, that's an Ultramarines fan. But when you've had 30 of every army, that means I don't really like them.
Yeah.
But I think that the name comes from the sense of the grandiose ultra, they are the best. But also it was they also had the most gene stock, more than anybody else. They had the most stable genes and so on.
So something less than a 10% failure rate or something dumb like that.
Wow.
I mean, there's other chapters I think the Dark Angels. Their stuff comes back pure, but everybody's dude, because they wash their shit.
Yeah,
they Clorox
it's
that
because the sheet that comes with it is all redacted. Gene seed results redacted.
The one word that showed up there was spelled correctly. So
No, the word "it's fine" is just letters from different words that hasn't been redacted.
A ransom note.
Yeah.
So among the other chapters of civilizations, they were heralded as the finest and most valiant warriors. This is also in part because of their organization and part of that because they're so widespread. So going back to that. They are genetically predisposed to liking organization. They are they're the Lutherans of the space.
They're kind
culture.
of the extreme couponers.
What's that?
The extreme couponers.
So that's kind of leading up to, right?
But I read as well, and sorry jumping here, but
this is my story.
They follow rules and regulate to a fault. They almost got murdered by Tyranids because they wouldn't adapt to new enemies or anything. They're it says in the book that we're supposed to stand up in a line and wait for them to charge us.
But what's interesting is they're actually they are yes and no. They actually broke Codex, and that's how they actually won the Tyranid Wars.
Yeah.
Which is a little irony there. It's
There was also
you guys didn't create the perfect thing.
Yeah, there was also they talk about I've read in the Ultramarine Omnibus.
Yeah,
there was a short story about this sergeant from an Ultramarine squad that was being put up on charges of breaking the Codex, and he was I literally saved hundreds of Marine lives because I broke the Codex and did this, and they're yeah, we appreciate that. But now you have to get on this plane and just fly off into the Eye of Terror and go on your death oath because you broke the Codex. And he's but I literally saved all these people. And they're yeah. And while you walk out the door, we're literally going to all turn our backs on you. So enjoy that one.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's I saved hundreds of people of our own brothers here, and he's yeah.
I'm pretty sure as well though the Guilliman did not intend for people to follow that exactly to the letter. Just kind of hey, here's a good idea of how to run things, but if you find a different way, go right on ahead. No, this is the way. This is the only way. Destroy that first page that says try different things.
As many things did over those 10,000 years after they came back when they're okay.
So going into Robo real quick.
Yeah, Robo.
So kind of looking at it chronologically. So he was he shows up on the planet of McCraig, in his little red rocket. Yeah. And so he's adopted by Connor Gurleyman. So that's where he gets his last name.
For some reason, I thought you were joking.
Really?
Connor Gilliman. Yes, that makes sense. That's a fake name.
Oh, if only. Yeah. So he's one of the consuls of McCrack. There's two of them, him and this other guy, Galan. So he adopts him. He's oh, this is great. One rumor was, and this hasn't really been validated or verified, was that he got a vision from the Emperor and he knew exactly where to go. Other stories are that they brought this golden child to him and they're oh yes, I love children. Leave me alone with him.
The Michael Jackson Primaris.
Gross.
The fun castle. So he was the two consuls.
I want to use my moon boots.
So by age 10, he knew everything. Like he grew up really fast, and like everybody else, like he knew everything that McCrae could possibly throw at him.
Ugh, nerd.
Yeah. Nerd! So then he's bored, and they're like, all right, well, here, 10-year-old or slightly thereafter, here, have an army. Go.
It's like, honey, if we don't give him an army, he'll start touching himself.
Oh my god, our internet bill has been ridiculous.
Yeah. This is
Play with your army, not with your...
This is the third time he's taken apart the toaster. Just give him a damn army to occupy himself.
He's not Ferris Manus. He's the toaster alone. Jesus.
Well, he never put it back together. That's the point. Ferris Manus would have put it back together.
No, I think you'll find Robu Gurliman would look at the toaster, he'd turn it over to where the screw part is, and it says, the sticker specifically says, do not disassemble, will void warranty. And he's like, nope, that's a rule. Puts it down again.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. Oh, man, I wanted to take this thing apart, but...
The tag on my mattress keeps tickling me.
Cannot remove that tag. No, I really want to see like a sitcom, or we should do a skit with like OCD Robbie Gilliman. Who's just like, he's crying because he's so depressed because he has to follow every rule given to him.
Oh, I want to see, you know, like
a movie trailer, like Liar Liar with Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
that's
great.
But
it's like, this summer, Robbie Gilliman is the rule follower. The rule follower.
Have you ever seen like the people that do like the orcs that are like, you know, they're in like a barrel? All it is like a barrel on a like stand. It's like not an orc.
Yeah.
See, like the orcs, like commandos would be amazing. Like not an orc. Look somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
well, that's the rule.
The sign says it, so it must be.
Must be true.
So he's running an army. He's given an assignment. Like, all right, go north. There's all these barbarians, all these wild men, and I want you to go and like take these guys down. So that's your whole job. Like you got to go and bring and. I think this is like kind of like, you know, the theme that keeps running throughout is like, all right, there's disorder, go and tame it. There's disorder, go and tame it. So he has to go and like take out disorder. So he does that, and he comes back, and Galan has like damn near he had a whole bunch of people go in and like shoot up Connor, so the other consul. There's this huge coup that's going on. Like the one consul is like a populist, the other consul is like they're getting fat off of slaves, and like they're just like leeching the resources of society. Like society has been slowly kind of crumbling. And so Girly Man, he's like running through like all the coup and all the bloodshed, and he gets to the Senate chamber, and like there's Connor like just hanging on to life. He's like, it was Gallon, he's a dick, and he dies in his arms.
Oh dang.
Yeah, and then they make out, and it was really cool.
Super hot.
After that,
because the sign said kiss the old uncle man.
Oh, I have to, damn it. He always put that on the bathroom.
Yeah, my last wish is to kiss me when I'm dead. It's like, every time.
We passed a House bill that said you had to.
Yeah, every time, Dad. God,
dude, the guy who started a sign-making business on McCrae is like rolling in money.
Yeah, he's the actual ruler of McCrae because he just puts up whatever sign he wants, and Gilliman's like, well, that's what we got to do. It says so on the sign.
So Girly Man goes and kills Galan. Like he squashes the coup. Like all the fat cats, he takes all their wealth and redistributes it amongst the people and creates a meritocracy. Yay!
Communist.
Boom.
But it's still a meritocracy.
Yeah.
So like he becomes the only consul left, and so he rules the McCrae for 5 years. He's brought the economy back to life. It's a vibrant culture. There's all these ships. Like he now has like interstellar traveling capacity. He's starting to kind of like look at other planets, and you know, like those old tendencies.
Yeah,
this is where they started. So he's playing Civilization from his bedroom.
Getting nuked by Gandhi.
Civ 30K, please.
Yeah, yeah.
So
he got this. He got the space ending, and then he decides to keep going.
So
Alpha Centauri.
So Robo Girly Man is Sid Meier's.
Yeah.
So he does that. The Emperor shows up, and he's like, yo, what up? I'm the Emperor. And
hey, I'm your space dad.
I'm your real dad.
Yeah.
It's like,
and Robo Girly Man, like any good rapper, knows game. And is like, yo, man, it's all good. I'll follow you.
Rappers don't follow rules.
That's a good point.
You'd be a country singer.
They're rebels that follow rules. So he just acknowledges like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, cool. Because like all the other Primarchs are like, you cannot. You have to prove it to me by beating me in ping pong.
Yeah.
Or going up a hill that's poisonous. Like that somehow shows that you're
Poison Hill.
I'll be your bitch.
Yeah. Every time with the Poison Hill.
Oh, all he ever does is poison a hill so he can walk up it. Emperor's a douche. One trick pony. Yeah. So So like Robo's a little bit different than a lot of the guys, like where I think like we kind of saw this with the Death Guard, like Materion and like a lot of other folks, like they go out and they have a battle and they like emblazon their armor, or especially the Custodes where they're adding like their victories to their
names
all over.
Yeah,
like just tattooed on their
cover
nipple.
me in names. Oh, the names.
Like if R. Kelly could piss names, like that's why they have golden armor.
there we go.
You're like, hey Jeff, the Custode, ruler of Lothar, killer of so and so. Like, oh god, so many names. I'm so honored right now.
Get her of the coffee that one morning.
Oh, I'm so honored right now. God, you're making me honored.
if I could get a chubby, I would.
Anyway, Ultramarines.
Yeah. There's no where. So I think like after kind of like fast forwarding a little bit, I really probably shouldn't fast forward a little bit there. Okay, so
that's me rewinding.
Fast forwarding.
No, I was rewinding.
Okay.
That was a rewind side.
That's good.
If it was a fast forward, I'd be like,
all right, so I got to find my heresy stuff. Okay, so the
well, we're not talking about Dark Angels.
So okay, yeah. So we'll go into that. So contact with Immortals. Sorry,
It's all good.
So he takes over. He comes over and like him. Who's the Conrad? Kurz?
Kurz, yeah. Conrad Kurz.
Kurz and
Space Batman.
what's his name? Horus. They go in and they start the Unification Wars. Like that was like a big thing for them. No, maybe this wasn't the Unification Wars.
It wasn't Unification. I think Unification was pre-Primarch.
Because this is the pacification of Luna. This is like the first major thing on with the Primarchs, and so they go up there. And I think like at this point, like all the locals had kind of regressed and like pulled away from the Empire. And so like they're this like weird like Mechanicum cult, and I hadn't really looked much into them, but like they have this like thing where they're like everything is like turned up to like 100, right? Like so they're like this Mechanicum cult, but they're like this gene cult is what they call them. So everybody's like modifying their genes.
Oh jeez.
It's like I don't know. Did you ever read that book Don't Bite the Sun?
No.
By Tanith Lee. Okay, it's weird. I don't recommend it. But like everybody's like
Thanks
making up weird shit. Like I want to have wings because like everybody's body can just change. Like if they go through this, I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, weird.
So nobody can die. So anyway, so there's this like weird gene cult there, and they have to go up and like pacify it. So they go and like beat the shit out of everybody, and like Kurz, and I think at this point like Horus is like wow, girly man, you're the shit. Like, if I have you or was it the Iron Hands or I forgot the other one, the Salamanders, is like I can win any battle. You know, like all I need is you guys. You guys are awesome. So they do that. Then they start going off in like the regular crusades. And I think at some point, you know, they have there was the Osiris Rebellion, Ullanor Crusade. They were really big in the original Ullanor Crusade, and so there's all these other things. And over time, you know, eventually we get to I think the Word Bearers. So the Word Bearers are like the kind of the like Lorgar and Girly Man hate each other. They are not homies. Because like, you know, one is like this weird, like, you know, one loves the Imperial Truth because it's the rules. Yeah. And the other one is like, he hates the Imperial Truth because it's not like worshiping weird shit. Yeah. Then of course he has to go and like, the Emperor's like, all right, well, Logar is being a weirdo. Girly Man, go and knock out the shrine world of Monarchia. Remember that? So he goes like wipes that out, which basically like brings us to the Horus Heresy. Like Logar is like, I don't know, I like chaos. I have to worship something. Toilet paper tube, tell me the secrets. You're not good enough. What do I worship?
Well, I think it was
LSD. I love you.
It was like the Ultramarines. Well, not the Ultramarines, but still the Emperor because he's a dick. But like, yeah, they're like, oh, you created this awesome present for me, son? That's so good. Hey, here's your brother. Brother, if you could destroy that toy in front of me and your brother, that would be fantastic. Or if it was like, you know, you make like a little coffee cup and it's really shitty and the handle is falling off. You're like, here, Dad, I made this for Father's Day. He's like, oh, that's really good. Hey, Robu, come over here. Yeah, if you could throw that shit on the ground, that's a piece of shit. Stop it.
Hey, Russ, while you're just take a shit on it, would you? He's always good for shitting on command.
That's what I think of your fucking mug, Lorgar. Why can't you be more like your brother?
Yeah, seriously.
Like Corningware.
Yeah.
By Corningware. or Oneida.
I hate you, Dad. But I'm gonna go find a better dad. There's 4 of them. I'm gonna become. They're way better.
Well, back in the 80s, there was 5. But I think you're right. Where like this is kind of the first time, like Fluffwise, where like here is the example of how you should be. And, and they're pulling and holding the Ultramarines up as this example.
Yeah.
Of like they are the perfect one. Be like them. Don't worship me and turn and make shrines about me.
Yeah.
Be like these guys. So yeah,
this is way before Matt Ward. So eventually, I think that happens. The Emperor sends Girly Man to fight an orc invasion on, I can't remember what planet it was. And while that happens, they had to stop over in Calth. At this point, like Horus and Lorgar and some other people are like, let's start this little rebellion. It'd be cool. And then
little rebellion. Hey, remember when we turned like half of our brothers against each other and tried to take over the galaxy?
Hilarious.
That was quaint. So at this point, like Lorgar ambushes Girly Man. The massive brawl, right? We kind of covered this before, and like. I mean, Calth is just like leveled. Like there's like next to no like livable anything there. It's almost desolate, and it just like rages and rages and rages. And in the meantime,
so it's like insert shitty part of your town here. See how I made this global, so
yeah,
people get the joke no matter where. And I also don't insult anyone because the people in the shitty part of the town are like, hey, that's this area actually.
I like my town.
Yeah, I like my town. Go local sports
The
team.
meth is cheap. So so that goes on. I think Angron is doing this shadow crusade. Like while he's gone, I'm going to go and fuck up the Ultramar system.
Yeah.
So he's raging through the Ultramar system. I think Girly Man gets wind of that, and like he just like beat the crap out of Lorgar, but not without casualties. Because like at this point, the Ultramarines, I mean, they are the most prevalent. Like I think like part of it is the massive organization that Girly Man has. Like he is a strategic genius.
Yeah,
and everything is just like dialed in perfectly. Like when I was reading this, they're talking about it. Like, but what about the Iron Hand? Oh, I guess they're not as great as they think they are. Like, they're very mechanical and methodical, but they're not. Like they don't seem to have like the bigger picture in mind.
Yeah.
Whereas I think like the thing with Robo is like he has a bigger picture. He's thinking like about all like holistically about the war instead of the battles. And so he's his not only is his gene seed perfect, which really helps out. Like if all of the steps along the way are so perfect, then you don't have hiccups.
Yeah.
You're able to replenish, because that was part of his. Like he was able to replenish so much, and he also like the casualties were so slim. Like he rarely lost people.
Unlike someone like the other legions, like world leaders, where like throw people at it.
Yeah.
We're losing millions of guys, and this battle starts like throw more people at it. What the fuck? I'm busy.
Yeah, just keep going.
Which would have been fine, but their gene seed was not perfect. And so like he was up to about 250,000 Marines, whereas the average legion was about 50 to 100.
Yeah.
Ideally they had 100,000, but oftentimes that was not the case.
Yeah.
And like he was replenishing faster than he would lose guys.
Yeah.
Like he's just throwing guys and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, what do I do with these? And so that was kind of like they lost 119,000 people at Calth.
Yeah.
So they lost a fuck ton.
Yeah.
But still, they left 40,000.
Well,
they left 40,000 people there.
Yeah. It kind of helped they got totally butt raped and fucked and turned on by the word bearers without them knowing about it. Again, showing kind of the tactical inflexibility, because they, the book doesn't say anything about what to do when my brother attacks me.
That wasn't in the plan.
Because you think about it, like the word bearers might have been less than 100,000, and they were able to wipe out 120,000 before like some of their guys got away, so they didn't lose 100,000.
Yeah.
So like the word bearers were probably killing 2 to 1.
I have to say, if you have access to the Forge World Horus Heresy book, Betrayal. The fluff in that about the battle for Calth is phenomenal.
Oh, okay, I haven't read that.
Exceptional, really good writing, really good storytelling. The description of how the word bearers cuck the Ultramarines so hard is it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's definitely.
What were some of the takeaways from that? So I didn't go into the details of the battles.
Like their dicks, pretty much. The word bearers, like they're like hey, yeah, we're buddies. Come on, if you want to come over here, let's go. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna get this. I think, I can't even remember now, but I think they crash a space station into the sun or some weird stuff like that to cause like a blight. Like, they do was
that where like, because a lot of the vegetation got blighted from, I can't remember what they said, but that was it.
Yeah. That was it there. So, but it's really well done, really well written. And it's again, following rules and, you know, going stringent, no change.
Yeah.
I think that's when Girlyman survives in space without a helmet, Star-Lord style.
Nice.
But yeah, it's very, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems to be like, it's like a double-edged sword. Like, you know, him like sticking to the codex has been like beneficial, but then it hasn't been. There's been times like, you know,
oh, this Balanced Legion. Oh, yeah.
Instead of going 100%, just go 99. It's still an A.
Yeah.
So he gets wind of Angron taking out the Ultramar system. Realm, and he rushes over there. In the meantime, like as he's doing that, Lorgar unleashes a warp storm, as is really easy to do apparently, because this happens a lot. And so he gets like slowed down in that. Eventually, he's able to pass through. But it also, like, that warp storm, it delays him getting to the Ultramar realm, but also it ultimately ends up with like him not getting to Terra in time. So like I think he gets to Ultramar, him and I think Sanguinus shows up about the same time, and they take down Lorgar now is there as well, and so they end up, I think they beat Angron back, and I think they're about to beat down Lorgar when all of a sudden, because like I think Girlyman gets there before the Ultramarines. I don't know why he keeps flying by himself, but then like
I'll take the fast supercar, but there's only one other seat, so I'm going to take Steve. He's coming with me. You guys ride in the van behind us.
Like his personal ship, where he really likes the color. The sign above it says capacity 1. So he's like, well, shit. Okay, got to follow that rule.
You have to be this closely related to the Emperor to enter. He's like, oh, suckers, I'm out.
Or maybe it's because he has so many goddamn children he can't fit in the bus.
So Girlyman,
put a rubber on it, dude.
Exactly. So Girlyman, Southern Trailer Park father.
Yes. I'm gonna take my motorcycle. So he rushes over there like
I'm gonna ride me a Codex Astartes.
So he's just about to get handed after he takes on Angron. I think Lorgar, he's having a tough time with that. The Ultramarines show up and they just like yank him out of the battle, like you're about to, no.
Yeah.
And then I think they turn around and then they focus on Terra. They run in there, but at this point the siege has been going on for a while. And he shows up there. Horus is like, you know, this is the one guy like Horus did not want to see. And Horus, like, you know, he's mopping the floor. He's taking Terra on. And then he starts acting erratic. He's like, oh, fuck, Girlyman's here. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's RoboCop.
So he starts printing out a sign for do not invade Terra.
Yes. What do you mean, PC load letter? Fuck, eject.
Heresy would have been one if not for printer error.
Yes.
So, I'm really enjoying Girlyman following all signs that he reads.
Yeah. This has to be a comic.
It does.
So he gets there. Horus starts acting erratic. Eventually, you know, he drops his shield on his ship. The Emperor goes up. They have their little duel. All that goes down. The Emperor
little duel.
You know, like
the single most defining duel in all of the history of 40K.
It was adorable.
Little door,
you know,
little cute little duel.
What I think is
Not
funny about that duel now, just to sidetrack a little bit,
Yeah.
is because it's now canon that the Emperor kind of views all of the Primarchs as just tools. Mm-hmm. It's the equivalent of the Emperor accidentally drilling his arm and then going, fuck, throwing the drill away. Like, done. Yeah, Ted's finger. Ted's finger. Yeah,
I threw my drill away.
Yeah.
That was your Horus.
Yeah.
Horus the drill.
Yeah, you need to rename your drill Horus.
I'm going to put a top knot on it.
Yeah.
It'd be an amazing top knot.
Yes.
Abaddon would be proud. So he takes over the empire for I think a few decades or so. After the Emperor gets interned. And he's starting to reorganize things. He takes the what is it called, the High Council, turns it into the High Lords.
He's gonna be like, you're gonna have a little bit less power, and you're not gonna do what you want to do, but Lord is in your title now.
You can keep it. Yeah. It's kind of like working at the university where titles are important.
Yeah.
Assistant, or what is it? Assistant to the assistants of the chancellor's vice-ness?
Yeah.
Assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah.
Instead of a raise, we'll give you a closer assistant to the assistant of the assistant.
Oh,
deal.
So let's see.
So he's leading. He's ruling.
He's ruling
the
Terra.
empire.
He's telling people, "Hey, this is your job. This is your job,
Yeah.
guys. Organization is my thing. check out my closets.
Yeah.
Check out my fucking sock drawer.
All the closet mates.
Look at all these signs.
I got this Imperium. Yeah, he's like, what was the chick from Harry Potter?
Hermione?
Who had all the rules? The bad girl? Like the bad...
Umbridge?
Umbridge.
Oh, okay.
He's like Professor Umbridge, where it's just there's a wall in Terra, which is nothing but signs with rules.
Yeah.
Rule number 741.
Do not kill your father, the Emperor. It's like, that one came too late.
Rule number 743. Do not laugh at signs. Rule 744. Knock, knock. This is a jest. It is only a test.
This is a test.
So at this point, like, he pens the codex,
yes,
which dictates like how you operate in combat, how you operate in your home life.
Do you think he did it like university professors do, where they pen their own book and then sell it for $120 a copy, and it's required reading for everyone?
Oh,
yes,
it's just photocopied.
So he's like, yeah, I made a rule book. Everyone has to own it and read it. It is 300 Terran pieces of gold, and I will require that from all of you, or you are traitors and heretics.
Yeah, I think that was. And then you just like so then you had like Dorn and a few other people that were like, no, I got pirated copies.
I actually feel it'd be Lionel Johnson who had the pirated copy, but he would pretend like it's a regular copy.
That's because he printed out and
no, bro.
it.
Lionel Johnson had like the codex photocopied with like a penthouse letters in it.
Yeah, Lionel Johnson had the codex pictures on his iPad. I was like, no, this is the official copy. See, it's in iBooks.
You open the PDF in iBooks, Lionel. We caught it this last time.
You don't know me.
You're not my father.
Yeah, you're not my father.
So he builds that. I think there's like, who is it? There's three Primarchs that don't like it. Vulcan.
I believe Dorn
was one of them.
Stand it.
Yeah.
Does not want to break up his. I don't think Vulcan's a fan.
Yeah, I can't remember who the other one was.
Hey, I heard you edit this. So I'll look it up real quick.
It also might be. Well, obviously the Dark Angels were like, yeah,
we're loyal.
That sounds great. We're totally
loyal.
We're totally gonna follow that.
Yeah, half of us totally didn't turn. We're gonna follow this.
So then at that point he just like so he pens. Yeah, it's Russ, Dorn, and Vulcan oppose the work.
Yeah.
Dorn naturally Russ would.
Yeah. Rules. No, Dorn decides.
Like, you keep your leash.
He just pooped on the floor again.
Dorn decides to go attack something and then loses 80% of his legion. And I was like, all right. I mean, I know I only have 3,000 left, but I will organize them into 3 chapters because I decided to, not because I have to.
Because of reasons.
So I think it was Dorn that decided to change it. Because of it, Vulcan and Russ were like, god damn it, we don't have the majority vote. And they just went along with it. But I think like society starts to flourish in a way because of it. Like you do have a lot more organization. I think the one of the interesting things about like when Girly Man kind of goes back to Ultramar and sets things up, is that his people are like. I mean, like a lot of the Primarchs, the people are, of course, like fractions of him. Like his Space Marines are fractions of him. So he kind of like, as a natural lord or natural ruler or natural, I don't know, civilian builder, he has all of his captains of all of his companies do the same thing. So like you have a captain that's the head of the merchant fleet. You have a captain that's a governor of a section or a sector. And so you have like all these civilian roles. And I think part of it, because of this, like, the Ultramarines are more connected to humans than anybody else. Like nobody quite understands people the way they.
Salamanders
are close. Like they actually said that. Like that was like salamanders are like they're right there with them. But it was like the Ultramarine, like both of them have like those tendencies. But the Ultramarines do like tend to work more with the civilizations and more with the people. So they are the one. Like I think they were saying that the Ultramarines are the only ones that understand human facial expressions.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like a space marine, like what are you talking about?
Drax. You have like a legion of Drax the Destroyers.
Yeah,
was that sarcasm?
Why would I put my finger up to my throat?
So they're naturally like predisposed to this,
and what it might be is where the salamanders kind of view humans kind of like they would like a pet, where it's like it's like, no, I don't want don't shoot old Yeller, like that's awful, we can't do that. Whereas the Ultramarines are like, this is Steve, I work with him. He makes sure he gets like the stuff I know how to work with. So they have a more human interaction.
Maybe the difference is like the difference between like the word sympathy and the word empathy. Like a Vulcan is sympathetic to these things he doesn't quite understand, whereas like Robo is empathetic because he understands it. So he does all these things. I think that's like kind of an interesting aspect is like, you also have this civilian role as opposed to just like this military lord over the people role. And they're really like, they go towards a meritocracy. So I think in a way, like they kind of, I kind of equate them as like the imperial version of Tau, like here you, as long as you follow these rules, we could totally chill. We can be total homies. Just follow these rules because like, if you don't, then there is the thing like the death oath, like the Ultramarines, like I don't think they push that on other people, but for Ultramarines, you have to follow the rules. If you don't, like if you break the codex, you're sent on this like impossible mission and you're excommunicated. You're more than likely not going to return. But hey, if you do, you earned your station back. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think reading here about it as well, the reason they had a lot of trouble with the codex and putting it out is a lot of the people had issues with the fact that Gulliman wasn't really there during the big battle, and he kind of just showed up and was like, okay, I brought up my millions of guys. By the way, this is how we're running shit now. And they're like, brother, you haven't been here for like 6 months. We've been fighting like tooth and nail. What the hell? So I think that's, I mean, everyone relented.
To a point, like there's a lot, like you've got like the non-codex Astartes.
There's Russ.
There's like the Space Wolves. Don't really strictly follow it. The Dark Angels don't strictly follow it. The Blood Angels don't strictly follow it. Like there are other chapters that were like, okay, whatever. You can say what we're gonna do, but we're also probably just gonna do our own.
I think like most chapters, except for like the Space Wolves, like they mostly follow it. The Space Wolves are probably the only ones that are
looking at it from kind of the historical perspective. You have like. Sure, maybe 2-3 million Space Marines at this point, maybe a lot less. Until like to the billions of humanity in general. Billions who almost got wiped out because of infighting from a very small percentage. And that can never happen again. And that was like how having like, and that's what won a lot of people over. Like, this fucking sucks. This is stupid. Like, okay, but if 6 or 7 of you turn on me, that's only 7,000 people. And not. 1.2 quintillion.
I think we almost saw that too. Like I think when he proposed the codex, like there was a threat of infighting. Like there was a threat of yet another civil war.
To kind of like surmise it, Dorn called him a pussy and to go fuck himself. Gulliman said Dorn was a heretic and he would fight him, and Dorn was like, "Oh shit, no, we don't want to do that again." We literally just finished doing that. Okay,
chill, man, chill. Those are powerful words. So a lot of people, he has the biggest successor chapters because he has like the most guys. Like most people were completely devastated by this point. Like you said, like 30,000 people for Imperial Fist. There was not a whole lot. And like the Blood Angel was devastated. Like all the major chapters were devastated. The Ultramarines were devastated when you had 3 times as many guys as everybody else to start with. But they also created like the most successor chapters, and they continue to make
the Ultramarines were like, "Oh, we've been hanging out on Calif. We beat this one legion. What you guys been up to?" Oh. Well, I'm going to create all these successor chapters. Please ignore why I have so many. I've been very busy fighting heresy.
But I think it is interesting because, like, he had the most to lose. He had the most power to lose by dividing everything up.
Oh, for sure.
Bar none. So he does that, like, and this kind of goes to that idea that like why Ultramarines like are the poster boys is like literally you have a much greater chance of running into either an Ultramarine or an Ultramarine successor than you have of any other chapter. And it's not even a question. And because of it, like you also see that like there are more shrines, there are more statues for Gulliman than anybody else out there. Like there are more litanies, there are more like everybody's touting like the wonders of the Ultramarines, and it's because there are so many of them. Like more battles are fought by Ultramarines than anybody else. And B, like society has been built by these people. They have the compassion to actually do something about like the livelihood of the people and to distribute things more equally and to take down corrupt governors and stuff like that. Like You know, they're the Dirk Square Jaws, like they're the Captain Americas of of this. And I think that this kind of goes into like I think one person said on your thread in Facebook was like they're uninteresting, and yes, they are completely uninteresting. Yeah, they don't have like the human qualities of imperfections that anybody else has. They are so fucking perfect. They are the best chapter. Yeah. In that regard, but they're boring. Yeah,
to kind of put it like you're saying. The Ultramarines say are like the modern day military today. They have a very rigid structure. They have a set of rules and everything they have to follow and like ways they're doing it. And that's who I see. And they're kind of like a combination of modern military organization and tactics and Roman organization and tactics.
Yeah, mixed in with like the Army Corps of Engineers.
Right. Kind of it's all mixed in together there, but. In order to do that, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, I keep popping the mic terribly. Sorry, people's ears. In order to do that, then you do have to be a little bit boring. Yeah. You do have to be a little bit rigid. There's no way that you can stay true to the character of the Legion. Because, I mean, if you look at all the original Legions, they all have obviously different aspects. Mm-hmm. You know, and Doran was a master, at making defenses and siege warfare and things like that. You have... Perturabo, who was Perturabo, master of machines, all that other kind of stuff there. Everyone had their own little niche, and there had to be a Legion there that was organizational and, tactical and, did everything by the book and other things like that. And it's not new. They've been poster boys for almost 40 years.
Leonardo the Ninja Turtles is exactly. I mean, he even has a blue bandana.
Yeah, for sure.
They're the Leonardo. I mean, are they super interesting? I mean, there's a couple books on the Heresy range especially where No Fear is a fantastic example of a great Ultramarine book. Yeah. And there is great stories out there, but they're not going to be the most, grim, darky bolter porn that everyone else is, because by character, like looking at the chapter as like one kind of character person, it wouldn't be true to them doing this, I mean, it's super easy. I mean, it's weird. Space wolves, super easy. You have like space Vikings who sometimes turn into werewolves. Yeah. Okay, we can make a super interesting story about that. Blood Angels, well, they're like space vampires, but they go like crazy from black rage, and we have to lock them up in special black armor, and they like get chained up inside of it. Oh yeah, I can do a really fucking interesting story about that. Yeah. Dark Angels. Oh, they have like this super secret that no one else can know. Like half of them turned evil, but like they had that under control. Now they're hunting it down so they can correct their wrongs. I'm like, man, that is interesting shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ultramarines. Oh wow, they really follow the tactics book kind of to the letter, and they have a big empire. Yeah. It doesn't have that same kick or pizzazz, but it's still, like we said, something super necessary to have in there. It's a good, like whenever I write a story or things like that. You need a character who's almost grounded and is not fantastical and is not like your guide into that world. Yeah. If you are a new player coming in and you look at an army like the Ultramarines, there is several real world comparisons you can make right away. There's companies. Oh, there's this character. Oh, there's this. And you can then get drawn into the crazy, grimdark, fantastical stuff. Yeah. Super easy. And not to say that, people can't be like, oh, yeah, Space Werewolves. Yeah, that's great. I love that. I mean, that's my window in. But for the vast majority, they need that kind of blank persona to kind of get in there. It's why in the Iron Man movies and the Marvel movies, Agent Coulson was such a popular character. Because in a world of the fantastical, he was normal. Yeah. And he was kind of everyone's window in. And it's the same thing with the Ultramarines.
I think in a way, but also in a way, he's the opposite. I think in a way, he's the ideal. Like, he's the ideal man. So, like, the Ultramarines theoretically would be the ideal man. And I think, like, everybody has, like, a thing that they are drawn to. Like...
What are you drawn to in the ideal man, Ted?
Nice sculpted buttocks.
Must like long walks on the beach.
Must have giant stasis combat suit.
But I think, like, you look at a lot of players, and, like, a lot of players are, like, drawn to a certain thing. And if you really start to, like look at, like, why, I love orcs because I have, like, maybe it's like a sense of destabilized, like growing up or something like that. I just had lots of rusty things. But, like, so for some people they have like anger problems, so they're going to be like they love Angron or something like that. They identify with this, and I think it like kind of speaks to different parts of your personalities. Like, what army do you play? And I think that, like, For me, I never really liked DC comics. Like, I never liked Superman because he was so fucking Dirk Squarejaw. He was so unrelatable. He was so perfect. He could do anything he really wanted to, and the story had to be something that was bigger than him.
They had to invent a stupid space rock to harm him, which then got inserted into every single story.
Yeah. So then, but you look at Marvel, and everybody was like, Tony Stark became an alcoholic, but he was still he had a weak heart, and Logan, he had a problem just sticking with things. So he was always running off. And
to be fair, Kyle, the Green Lantern, Kyle, he had his girlfriend dead in the fridge.
Okay.
That's pretty relatable, right?
So, but by and large, that's I think these are the things when Batman was the same thing for a long time up until we had to DC had to change it up and add he became an alcoholic, he lost his empire, they had to really jostle him up and make it relatable to people because the readership was down. And I think it kind of works. I think there's a reason why we identify a little bit more with those characters that have those weaknesses, because we look at our own lives and we're just fuck, I have to pay an electric bill. Fuck, oh man, well this thing happened, oh god, why didn't I get my oil changed? Now I'm having problems with
oh shit, I need to get my oil changed.
Same here. So these are things my
light's been on for 1,000 miles.
4,000. Yeah. One of these days. But I think these are the things that these are the experiences we experience. And when we look at Robo Girly Man, how he has a perfect life, everything was perfect. There was no real challenges in his life other than his adopted dad was killed like everybody else to every other Primarch. It was his challenges were so few, and he every step along the way he did the right thing.
And he easily, and it seemed like all of the bad things didn't happen to him. At Cal, his legion was decimated, half of his legion died, but he was okay.
Yeah,
and he had 1 million legionnaires.
Yeah, and the thing was, his legion was already twice as big as everyone else's. So even though he lost half, he still had the half that was the same size as everyone else's.
It's not like he was Imperial Fist that died over and over
to a man every damn time they go out to battle.
Hey, you want to go get a Slurpee? Die to a man.
I will say that that in Dark Imperium, and the first chapter, kind of spoilers, goes into how he died. Spoilers, he died but 10,000 years ago, so it's cool.
Yeah, that was when Fulgrim poked him.
But Fulgrim kind of got him with poison, and it was. I really enjoyed it because I agree with you. There was no flaws in everything right there. But there's a passage in there that said it was pride that got him killed. He was he knew he should have left. He knew that he wasn't going to win. But goddamn it, was he pissed at Fulgrim, and he was going to make him pay.
Yeah,
and it got him killed. And he was as he was dying, and I loved the description of his death because it starts the sensual poison ran down, and he felt the pleasure of death coming to it, and all the words kind of subtly changed to kind of Slaneshi things.
Oh wow,
it's super cool. But yeah, it was pride that did him in, and and that's what I was oh okay, so that's his flaw. Yeah, rigid to a core.
Yeah,
but like you said, I don't think it's a super relatable flaw to a lot of us because I don't think many of us can be I'm too perfect.
Yeah,
I know
you guys might not be able to.
But yeah, he's Superman of 40K.
Yeah,
is he an interesting character? Sure. I like a little bit every now and then, but it's very hard to craft a very good story for him because of the limitations the character places.
He's sort of
he's a good background.
If they were going to if they were going on a camping trip, Russ might be the one that sneaks in a bottle of whiskey, to share around the fire, but Robute is going to be the one who remembers the toilet paper. You know what I mean? It's the things that are essential to make sure everything runs smoothly. He's going to be the one that's going to be able to do it. That's why he was the one that was able to write the codex. It's he's the one that's going to be able to bring these things that aren't super flashy. Yeah, exactly. That aren't super flashy. That aren't super exciting and edgy. But he's the one that makes it run. You know what I mean? Which is honestly why he had to be the first Primarch to come back. Because he is the one that has to put everything back to
he wakes
straight.
up after 8,000 years to be what the fuck did you do?
Yeah, and then because
could you imagine could you imagine any other Primarch waking up in modern day 40K realizing I need to be okay with this for a little bit so we can slowly fix it?
Yeah,
if Russ walked back in,
thinking the exact same
the
thing,
Emperor's lapdog walks back in, sees the state of the Imperium, sees we fought to stop this shit from happening.
Yeah.
High Lords murdered. planets gone.
Yeah.
You know, just like everything would just be completely wiped out and started again.
Yeah.
I think like every Primarch except for Girly Man like thinks of things in the micro. Like they have their own little world. They have their like they're hyper focused on one particular thing. Like whether it's making the perfect toaster, whether it's like like peeing on things, or like everybody has like we're gonna make a wall that's so big, there's solar panels on it, and nobody's gonna.
Rogal Trump.
Yes. Everybody has like they're hyper focused on like one thing, but I think like the problem with society is fucking society. It's not the perfect toaster, it's not a wall, it's society. And like the only Primarch that gives a shit about society and and will get emotionally involved and like to do something is Girly Man.
Yeah.
So
you even saw that in the Gathering Storm, like when he was when he was coming out of when he was being freed, he was like, we need to go get those guardsmen that were with me. He's sitting there, he's just been like taken captive as a Primarch, and it's like, we're trying to get you out of here, and he's like, no, we can't leave until we free all of those guardsmen that came with me, because they're dedicated people of the Imperium. And it's like the only way they could get him not to go running off to go try to free them was like, they're dead, like they're already dead. And he's like, well, all right, if they're dead, I can't do anything about it, but if they were still alive, that's what we would go do. And it's like, even if it was like guaranteed death to him, that was his concern, where it's like they barely made it out as is without trying to free all the guardsmen. But that's what he wanted to go do, because that's how he is.
There's been a fluff change in recent years from kind of the Emperor and his beloved sons to the Emperor and the tools he created,
useful tools
to do the thing. And it's really I love the fuck out of that change. It's way more interesting than Papa and his sons.
And it also makes more sense.
And it makes more sense because you don't use a screwdriver where you need a hammer. Yeah. It makes no sense. Yeah. Now, is Dorn like one of those sweet multi-tools that's, like it's a pair of pliers, but it's also a knife, but it's also, absolutely. And the thing is about, like it's their tools. He has a specific tool for a specific job. And like you said, really, like, we can bitch, oh man, Lionel Johnson wasn't the first Primarch to wake up. Oh man, Rogal Dorn wasn't the first Primarch to wake up. But like thematically, unless you want to turn all of the Space Marines away from the Imperium, he is the only one that could have woken up.
Absolutely.
And moved this narrative the way it is.
Yeah. And also, when you look at it, like going back to like that change that you're talking about, like if there are no Primarchs around, you need that focus of what things do. So you look at the Emperor, and what runs the Imperium right now is the cult of the Emperor. You know what I mean? It's like, we worship the Emperor as a living god. And now that the Primarch comes back, and it's like, no, like I will now lead the Imperium forward the way it needs to survive for what's going on. I mean, you don't need to pretend that he was this super great,
the only thing I treated me
as like his favorite son. Like that's not what it is. What it was is I was a tool.
The only thing I can really think of, like in a comparison, would be like, and this is terrible, but Hitler waking up in modern day Germany, going up to the government. Yeah, this isn't how it's supposed to run. We're going to run it this way, like we did back in the 30s. You know what I mean? So I mean, and it doesn't work. Yeah, it would never work. Yeah, but there's only certain people who would realize that that's not going to work. And like I said, Girly Man's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if Russ was the first one to come back, he probably would just let like an actual purging of like. The ecclesiarchy. He would have just like run off and just try to run every single Space Marine into the warp rift.
We saw when like Vulcan, like they found Vulcan, like he had no interest in changing
and that was
society. And like
2,000 years.
He was this like the closest to, I think of the loyal Primarchs. He was the closest to like the society builder, and still even him was like, it's all shit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and he was barely even willing to leave.
Want to work on my hammer.
Yeah. Well, he was sitting there and he was like, I pledged to protect this one planet, so you guys can leave the Imperium to your own, because that's not what I pledged to do. Yeah. Whereas Robute's like, all right, I'm going to leave my system even though it's like under siege right now because I need to fix the better of the Imperium. Yeah, the whole he was the one that needed to wake up in that moment.
I am going to make an impassioned plea to Games Workshop employees to please petition your bosses to produce a line in the style of Marvel's What If comics. I would like a What If short story. What if Leman Russ returned before Gulliman did?
Yeah. Or for each of them,
it would be
you want
like
a set of short stories.
Oh man, there is your advent calendar this year, guys. Like I would literally you have what, like 18 Primarchs, 18 days of stories of what happened. Like hell, even if Horus returned,
you
would show up and be like, oh yeah, that's kind of like how I thought it was going to be.
Everything worked out.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they can save.
And you can send the royalty checks to John at.
They could save the demon princess for the weekend. So you're just like, well, they already woke up. So anyway, wait till Monday.
But yeah, I mean, I guess
what if Magnus woke up first? Oh, he did. Okay, cool.
He's been woken up since he never went to sleep. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we got a little sidetracked there, Ted, and you have a lot.
That was actually it.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, there's like little things like the Tyrannic Wars, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I feel we kind of sidetracked a little bit, and we talked way more about Gullymen than we did Ultramarines.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I mean that's the interesting part.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the Ultramarines ultimately, I think, like. My takeaway, like as I was saying, like the Ultramarines history is Space Marines history. So like it's not interesting because we all know about it, and it's not compelling because there's no like weird shenanigans and shit like that because it's perfect. And
there's no plot twist because that's what they're designed not to be.
Yeah, and for me, like like in the end, the takeaway was like our interaction with the Ultramarines, and it was just like we talked about. It's like they're not relatable, or else they're the ideal and they're relatable, and they're the ideal, and that's it. Like. They're the baseline.
They're like male models, where it's like like there's appeal to them, but there's very little that you can relate to.
It's called underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, we look at kind of even like the notable characters kind of post heresy. You have like Tigurius, who is the strongest psyker in the Imperium.
Oh, yeah.
And you have like Cassius, the chaplain, who's like a veteran. He leads the all this great kind of stuff they do. And again, it's all just there to promote the idea that they are this perfect following of
absolutely.
the thing is because you got to have that. Sicarius, the greatest Imperial Space Marine tank commander. It's just there, and you can hate the fluff all you want, but all the characters are there to do is to promote the idea of this chapter in your mind and kind of instill the virtues. Like it wouldn't make sense if Cato Sicarius comes out and he's all like acting like a Viking, and like jumping down from his tank and smashing people with axes. It's characters.
I mean, they are named the Ultramarines. You know what I mean? Like in and of themselves, at their base creation,
I mean,
they
Jesus
are meant
Christ,
to be, like you said, like the exemplar of what a Marine is supposed to
GW
be.
used to have a character called Sherlock Clouseau. It's not like they're subtle with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Those vampire guys are blood angels.
Yeah.
Those furry guys are they're wolves from space. They're space wolves.
Yeah, going through like the old Angels of Death book that I accidentally got when I got the wrong book.
Yeah.
You look at the art for the Blood Angels and it's like gory fangs. Like I mean, they really turned it up. They turned it down.
Yeah.
For like a lot of the new codexes.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's still pretty thick. But I mean, I think that's it. I don't know. It's just like they're you don't have to be into that. Like you could totally I totally agree with the guy who said that they're not interesting and that's why he doesn't like them. That's fine. Like that's totally
and that's
valid.
why there's all those other options. It's not like you can only play Ultramarines. You know what I mean? Like they've designed the lines to be able to be however you want them to be, but they need to have that baseline of like the Ultramarine. Like this is what an Ultramarine is because you know. It sets the standard upon which everything else is determined. Like, Blood Angels, their story isn't as interesting unless there's the Ultramarines to compare them against. You know what I mean?
Good point. Yeah.
Same thing with the Space Wolves. They're not as interesting in and of themselves without comparison to the Ultramarines. You know what I mean?
What could you be?
Yeah.
How far have you fallen?
Yeah, exactly. Like the Dark Angels, it's like great. Like half of them went rogue during the heresy, and now they're on this endless hunt to get them. That's not as interesting in and of itself unless you compare it to the Ultramarines, who are like that is
I mean they're
against what it is.
They're a great mashed potato.
Yeah,
like
I love
meal.
mashed potatoes.
Okay, some people love mashed potatoes by themselves. Can eat it all day.
That's me.
Yeah.
But honestly, they work best when paired with something else.
Yeah,
like you said, it's a way to show how different someone else is.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like a pH chart. It's a solid 7 right in the center there.
When you absolutely need a Skyhammer in your Dark Angels force, like you call the Ultramarines.
It showed how normal and crappy the rest of Phil's Dark Angels list was when you brought in an Ultramarine.
The perfect unit.
Yeah, the perfect unit.
Giggity. But yeah, that's to me is Ultramarines.
Yeah. For sure. Cool.
Get over your fucking head. Don't tell me how to hobby.
Interesting, but not.
Surmised a half hour in one sentence.
Yes.
Oh, Oh boy, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come real back. Come real back.
Come real back, not
Come
fake
back
back.
all over your
We're gonna
back.
come
Quick.
real back.
And we're gonna do a little Craigslist prices. No, eBay prices. Right?
Yeah.
Fuck Craigslist. Fuck Craig.
Craigslist, right? It's
Yeah.
like how much?
Chapter
How much?
master.
How much does this fire pit work? The answer is 0.
Oh, sick burn. But I saved $300 on it.
Hey, sick burn! I see what you did there.
Man, my old lady's so moody right now. I hate that time of the month.
Not me. I buy generic tampons. They clean up all that gross lady stuff, and she's happy because we've saved money.
Wow, generic tampons. I'll have to give those a try.
Damn, I can't believe I lost another game. All of my dice are rolling once.
Quit the whining, man. You should change your cotton.
Another rending hit. Thanks, generic brand tampons.
Generic brand tampons, not just for ladies. For a limited time, send in 6 applicator sticks for a free dice bag.
All right, thanks. I need a new computer though because I've been killing my laptop on with video editing.
Yeah,
Oh, man. It's the worst.
Dying on me.
third world problems.
Yeah,
Man, my fancy
Everyone's-
laptop.
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone
God,
feels that one.
this water with malaria and dirt and like yak shit is.
Yeah, but how slow is your laptop after video editing? Come at me, bro, with your real problems.
You know, I know we're over 2 hours now, but
Yeah.
I need a laptop if I want to do the streaming shit, because carrying my massive 27-inch
Oh,
iMac
yeah.
around is not,
Not fun.
not a bueno idea.
Yeah.
So how is everyone? How are we doing?
Doing well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, everything's processed. You know, the thing I saved, which had everything up here, has disappeared. So real quickly, just gonna getting that stuff back.
You're welcome.
So we had a couple people request eBay prices right.
Yay!
And
Thank you.
another-
I actually had someone request it on. I think it was either the GW Twitch stream or on one of my on something that I
Really?
did. They were like, wait, Phil from Mob Rules, and I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh man, you guys got to bring back the eBay prices right. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, oh dang, yeah.
Oh man,
There you
so,
go.
Awesome.
So how do you feel that
Well
you
done.
have a YouTube channel with almost 5,000 subscribers,
And I got recognized.
and you got recognized for a shitty segment I did?
Yeah,
on
okay.
an iPad
caught
a
up
year
for that.
ago?
Yeah.
Congratulations, John.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that is my thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think
I'm the only one that's ever done that.
Oh man.
the fan was trying to shop up the chain of command.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Hey, can you? Yeah, I love your stuff. Can you hook me up with your cute girlfriend or your sister? No, you look great in those my pink pants or whatever the hell it's called.
So I have to say, the big changes since last time I did eBay prices right. I found out how I can loop music infinitely, so Ted doesn't have to do it in post.
Nice.
Yay. 'Cause I
That's
always
about
do
it.
in post.
Because okay, so 7th edition kills all interest. So we're gonna refer to it now not as 7th edition because that's bad luck, you know. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
It's now old 40k.
Oh,
New
okay.
40k.
Old K.
So we're looking at new K on eBay. Beautiful Dark Imperium set, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of content in there. But you know, not everyone wants both sides of the model, so they're going to be putting them on eBay.
Oh,
So if you were a Warhammer 40k new 40k rulebook, and I will accept a range of answers within $10, because literally the first 12 items are just the Warhammer rulebook on recently sold on eBay.
wow.
How much would you pay with a margin of error of about $10? So I want a range. So like if you would pay $70 to $80,
Okay.
or $90 to $100.
Wait,
how much
for a 40K rulebook?
Yeah, new 40k rulebook.
You mean the
8th
one
edition.
that's like the one that's $60 on
So
CW's
obviously,
website?
I'm not going to fucking go really near the answer, otherwise it'd be super obvious.
Okay.
So I got to give.
I was gonna say
This is $20.
I thought you were. Oh,
That's not a range. God damn it! I even gave it.
Okay, 10 to $20.
all right. I'm gonna secondary buzz. and
Okay,
I'm gonna-
secondary buzz.
I'm gonna go 40 to 50.
Oh, you both suck asses. 30 to 40.
Wow, in between.
Literally, literally right in between us.
Cheapest was $31. Most expensive was $39.
Wow.
You know what's super rad and completely necessary?
What?
The 40k combat gauge. It's
What is the 40K
tiny
combat?
piece of plastic. It's pre-measured.
Oh, it's the
for-
half Aquila thing?
Yeah, half Aquila. It's pre-measured so that it has like all the different measurements, so you can easily play your games of new 40k
Okay.
and get your Primaris Marines across the table. How much would you pay for one of those on eBay? Please bear in mind, I don't actually know how much that is new.
I know how much it is new.
How much is it new?
$10.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Okay.
Buzz.
Oh,
$4.
$4 for Phil.
this, 6.
Now this is half an Aquila.
Yeah.
Oh, So now it's going to be 5, isn't it?
No, it's actually $7.99.
Oh,
so $8
closer without going
that.
over.
Okay.
Wait,
Are we still
$8?
doing that?
So
$7.99.
so that you can literally get that for the same price if you just buy that from anywhere that gives the 20%.
Indeed.
Maybe it was a limited release.
Yeah.
Was it a limited release?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
It's only limited if people bought them all.
That might be it. Like maybe they're out of
They did.
stock and that's why they're going up.
Maybe.
Speaking of new 40K,
Yeah.
command points are now like a huge part of the game.
$40.
And they risk.
I need those goddamn rerolls.
All right, that's Phil's answer. It's $40. How much would a set of command dice cost off of eBay? How much would you pay for a set of command
And the
dice?
command
off
dice
of
is
eBay?
just like to mark how many you have, right?
No, see the command dice. I actually bought a set of these. They do a couple different things. One of them has a picture of a little sneaky space marine peeking over a fence.
That's
It's my favorite thing in the whole world
did
right
see
now.
You're
that was
kidding.
No,
For
it's.
real?
I will show you.
Yeah,
it's
the
amazing.
dice are supposed to represent different things on the battlefield. So it's like this unit came in from reserves, so you can mark each of the units based upon what's going on with them, so they can have
This unit advanced.
This unit advanced.
is in cover.
Yeah.
Things
Oh,
like that.
okay. So
Things
it's
like
not just like a dice.
It's not just a D20.
Okay. It's a marker.
Yeah.
You know what I super liked about it?
Okay.
Half of the pack is like literal like skulls with tiny numbers beside it, but I used each dice to mark my command points.
Yeah.
So those were my command point dice, ironically enough. And when I wanted to use a command point, I would roll that dice and then put it away. So I had this neat little pile in front of me. So they were super useful. But yeah, how much would you pay for super useful dice with really cute, sneaky Space Marines hiding on it?
I'm gonna say $10.
Okay, so
This is
$10
$12.
for Phil. Oh, geez, oh, son of a bitch.
That's like we're saying $1.
That's pretty
Well,
close.
that's what I was gonna say.
I know. It's like The Price is Right, where it's like $500.
No, we're not even
501.
close. We're not even close, are we?
It was $27.
Oh.
Shit.
In
$27?
supposed
I'm doing really
value,
good so far.
in actual value was $11.99.
Oh,
Wait,
so
wait,
so
wait,
literally like $11.99.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
went over.
you went
10.
over by
Yeah.
1 penny. So
I said,
technically, I
to
win.
me, it is that special that
Nice.
it should be $27.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up on the web store and it was $20.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait,
that's
should I
a
spend
really
$20
good
on
deal.
dice? What the fuck? Ugh.
Hopefully,
my
you spent
wife doesn't
Technically,
listen to
you
this.
used $16.
Yeah,
Like
hopefully.
Go. Hey, who likes money here? Not me.
I
Do you
don't
want to
have
buy
enough
a
of it.
limited edition 8th edition rulebook, which contains all the indices, the rulebook, as well as a bunch of extra stuff that you'll definitely use? Retail for $420 for limited edition.
$250.
$250 from Phil. How much was this on eBay? How much would you buy that for, Ted?
I think it's still available on their web store, isn't it? So it was originally $400, so $380.
No, Ted is closest without going over. $399.95.
Wow.
So you saved 5 cents from the web store.
Jesus
$25. It was
$4.25.
because I made a joke about it being $4.20. And, yeah.
5 times.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
do you like fortifications and also assassins and also
What?
non-power armored Imperial units?
What?
I know I do. And to run those properly, you're going to need Index Imperium 2. The only book we didn't actually review because my work exploded and I forgot to do it.
Oh, no.
How much would you pay on eBay for Index Imperium 2?
$19.
Okay, 19. It's got a $25 value, so it's
$15.
50. So Phil, you were close. It was actually literally $15.
Was it really? Wow.
Ding, ding, ding,
That's
ding.
actually a
that
good
means
deal.
that means I also win like $1,000 for getting it like exactly right. Isn't that how Price is Right works or something?
Yeah, but
Like,
it's
if
in
you
the
get
bank
it
account
exactly,
in the future.
you get it, like-
So I'm going to post it a check for the year
How
41,000.
about a blindfold and a bunch of Asian men jerking off on you?
Ah, damn it.
That's what.
That sounds awful.
No,
That's
don't
everyone's
wanna
prize.
Nobody
This
wants
game sucks.
This is the worst game
Hey, you
ever.
know what else sucks? Being sick.
Oh.
And you know what else is sick? That Nurgle half of that Dark Imperium box. So, how much would you pay, say, perchance, for the Nurgle half of the Darth Guard box, or the Dark
Guard?
Imperium, the Darth Guard, the Derp Guard, or of the Dark Imperium box, containing a fidget spinner plague flyer, a walking Chaos Lord with a giant bell, a playcaster, a bunch of cell-shaded jet set radio zombies, and Plague Marines. I do love all these miniatures, by the way.
Yeah.
I think they look
Yeah,
rad.
cool.
I'm stereotyping them down to their base.
$45.
Oh, someone doesn't like Nurgle.
$60.
What? What was it?
It was a dramatic pause. $75.99.
Wow.
Wow. Wait, really? Yep. That's close to exactly half of the box.
Yeah.
So you don't even get like half of a rule book.
I mean, I would
Or,
have
like,
I
half
would have
the
gone
dice.
higher, but I was like, I heard people were going to the open night and were buying up the Nurgle half for like $20 per side.
Oh, geez.
Really?
Like,
Oh,
there was
man.
one guy I know that picked up like 3 of them that way.
We should have flipped them on eBay.
I know.
Yeah.
Did you?
Hey, man.
Sure. Did you sell them to somebody?
No, I didn't. Okay. I did the right way, and I bought a box and split half with someone
Okay.
else.
They actually wanted them.
Yeah, that actually wanted them. Hey, man, do you like carrying large rule books around? I don't. Do you like miniature core rules and a small card 4-page sheet?
Oh.
I do. That's only available, though, in the Dark Imperium box set, much like everything else. How much would you pay to not carry around a large book or iPad?
Bzz, $5.
$5
Yeah.
from Ted. Thank you for regionalizing it. $3.
$3.
$3. $7.54.
Ooh, 54.
People really like miniature rulebooks.
Somebody bid $7.53 and is real pissed.
So mad.
They got sniped for $7.54.
Okay, Warhammer 40K Dark Imperium scenario cards.
Ooh, those look cool.
Scenario cards.
Yeah, it's just
Scenario
like all
cards.
the missions in it, you know, like the Eternal War and the Maelstrom kind of things. But it just has like the scenario on it.
But they're
it
really-
didn't come in the box set. It's like a.
It was a
additional thing.
web order exclusive, I believe.
Yeah.
So when you bought it from GW Prime, they sent you mission cards. So instead of looking up in the book, you had these really rad
Oh my God.
little cards
I want
that
those.
held
Seriously.
missions.
That sounds
That's
fantastic.
them right there. That shows the meat grinder deployment. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
want
sexy,
those.
right?
That is super
You
nice.
deserve those.
You
I
deserve
do
those.
deserve
How
those.
much would you pay for those?
Bzz, $15.
Oh, do you really want them, though? This is the thing.
Well, I mean, unless
they-
Ted snipes me.
Bzz, $8.
$24.
Shit.
Closer without going
People
over.
really like that. But if you look
They
at
were
it,
free on the web, like the web
right,
store.
but you don't
Yeah.
save your 20% off for buying from your reseller.
Right.
So you're spending $160 or you're saving $32. So you're still getting up a little ahead.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's great.
A little ahead. a couple more.
Take that
Keep going.
enthusiasm. Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
Hi, John.
you know what's
Welcome to
better
the
than
table.
better than an Ultramarine Space Marine?
Dark
monkeys
Angel
and
Space
human
Marine.
costumes.
An Ultramarine Space Marine that's also a Primaris Space Marine, the most popular unit type ever to be introduced into 40k, narrowly beating Centurions.
Oh.
So how much would you pay for an 8th edition Primaris Space Marine Lieutenant?
Oh, the
Just
lieutenant?
Which one?
Yeah, that would be the rad guy with the bolt rifle.
Oh, the
auto
auto
bolt
bolt.
rifle.
The
The
auto bolt
auto
rifle?
bolt rifle, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Bzz,
Yeah.
$5.
$5, okay.
This is $10.
Phil, you were close to going over. It's $8.
Ooh.
$8.
Wow, that's not too bad. Like, I mean, most characters are like 20.
25. Yeah, seriously.
That's dope.
It's pretty good. And then the last one here. That's a pretty rad Hellblaster squad you have in front of you.
Yeah, it
Phil.
is.
How much would you pay for that on eBay? The Primaris Space Marine Hellblasters.
Bzz, $15.
Bzz, 20.
Phil, right on the money with $15.
Whoa!
That's twice. 15's been my way.
Whoa.
Trusty rock.
Yeah,
Trusty rock.
Trusty rock.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
it. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I think you won that.
I think I may have won that.
I honestly, I didn't keep
Yeah, I
track.
noticed.
I did, and
pretty
I
sure
definitely
Phil
did
won
better.
So the last, I see one more
All
item.
right, the
One-
blindfold and the Asian men.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
The last item we'll do here, just because I saw it on the very bottom. I do this very scientifically. I search eBay for the completed sold listings organized by time with the keywords 8th edition 40k.
Nice.
How much would you pay for the Warhammer Fantasy Codex Lizardman?
What does that have to do with So
I don't make the rules. It's on the listing.
So wait, so you want us to tell how much someone would have to give me to take that off of their hands?
No, yeah. Or I guess if you're selling it on eBay, yeah. I mean, I'm not
sort
sure.
of like,
if you,
sort of like,
I'm not sure if you understand how eBay works, where you put things up for people to give you money for it.
Well, yeah, I know. Someone actually bought this, huh? This is
Yep.
the old one, right?
This is
last
not the Age of
This is
Sigmar one.
the last edition Lizard. No, there's no Lizardman in Age of Sigmar, I don't think. Oh no,
Yeah,
there
there's
is.
Sarah.
Seraphim
Yeah.
now. So yeah, this is a classic army Lizardman hailing from the army or the island of Lustria, ruled by the Frog King Slan.
$4.
$4.
$3. I'm trying to go for
man.
exact here.
The right answer, $29.95.
No way. What? Wait. So that didn't sell, right? Or
That is a sold item for $29.95.
So you can get one of the indexes new for $25 if you buy them from GW's website. Someone bought an old edition Lizardman Codex
or an army book
for more than that.
I gotta talk to Jean because she has all those in the back.
Well,
I'll
you
give
might
you
want to
$10.
because I believe the same guy bought an Ogre Kingdoms one for $20.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Hey man, there's fluff in there
All
somewhere.
right.
Sure.
I guess the
Are
old
those people
8th
playing
edition players.
old
Yeah.
Hammer?
Yeah,
There,
yeah.
there
People
seems to
play.
be less since they came out. Like they've made Age of Sigmar better, but yeah, I think there are still a few holdouts that don't want to do Age of Sigmar. So, but I guess, yeah, but I guess $29.
All right, that's amazing. That's it. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, people value different things.
Sure.
That is true.
But
you
yeah.
can spend your money on whatever you want.
I'm super happy. Like Primaris are. I feel because they're very inflexible that they're gonna be like, yeah, $15, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're still super rad.
Yeah,
Even if their guns are glued across their chests.
Painting those chess pieces so much harder.
So that's
John.
So that's been Mob Rules. It's been a very long episode of Mob
It
Rules.
has.
You know, when
It's
originally
nap
when we
time.
were like, hey, we should do Ultramarines, I'm like, okay, sweet. What are we going to do for the other hour and a half?
Yeah.
But apparently talking about narrative concepts was what we did.
Who'da thunk?
Who'da thunk?
that's
But
good.
yeah, they're pretty rad.
Yeah.
At some point, I do want to talk about Dark Imperium, guys.
Yeah,
because
for
it
sure.
is
Okay.
so amazing. And
Okay.
it's talking about that narrative shift.
Nice.
Well, okay. We could talk about talking about it later.
Okay,
But,
we'll talk about talking
probably
about
not
it.
going to be in 2 weeks.
yeah.
I will.
Unless Siri reads it to me.
I will introduce the minutes in the next meeting.
All right.
Of the thing. That you
Of our mini.
The meeting is for minutes.
so yeah, what do you let us know? Get in contact.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. But there's been a real increase in interaction with people kind of messaging us and writing us and telling us what they want to hear. Because honestly, a lot of the time we're just bullshitting in a microphone. So you might as well ask for some bullshit that you like.
Yeah.
Most of the time, or like.
Well, I wasn't including you, Phil.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, get in touch at Mob Rules John on Twitter at B4DC.
BC40.
BC4D.
Yeah.
It works. And then at Glacial Geek.
That's
we are
that's
all
me.
tweeting more.
You're up. I think we're tied for the followers now.
I'm getting them up there.
Yeah.
I'm getting up there.
How many do you have now?
53.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you were tied with me.
No.
I was like, my poor fragile ego.
No.
Yeah.
We are way behind.
But I'm followed by people with like thousands upon thousands of followers. And I'm like, screw you, I have 220.
That counts. Hey, you have a robot. I don't. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah, we did have like,
Didn't you have like one robot?
something like that.
Nice. I think I got followed by one. It was called like Free PlayStation, and I was like, yeah, they seem like they're real.
Yeah. Also, I generally don't get followed by
Oh, you
bikini
beat me
models.
now. You're just a few days ago we were tied at 54. You're at 57. I'm at 55.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
225.
John the Tweet Master.
Which is like super pathetic compared to everyone else's. Like, but yeah.
Hey, we're still new to the game.
We're still new to the
tweet
game. I'm not, though. I've been doing it for,
Ted's newly back into the tweet game.
Sort of. I've
Like-
been doing anything on there.
Literally, though, if you just post pictures of your models, people will retweet it.
Hell
and people
yeah.
will follow
No,
you.
I think it was like Rufio. I think like liked something, and then all of a sudden, like a ton of people were like, "Oh, I like that too." I'm like, oh, hey.
It shows up on other people's
I
feeds.
keep
that they
messaging
liked it.
him like, "Hey man, keep doing that."
I need to like do 13 dick jokes to have one hit right to get one follow.
Yeah.
It's quantity over quality over at Mob Rules John.
This is new tag.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be back in 2 weeks. I'm sure it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about ants.
Yeah, talk about ants.
And what they play, what role they play in the
Pesticides
Imperium,
in the 41st millennium.
in the new Primaris millennium.
I think we should just change all of our episodes to the custodes.
I feel-
that seems to do really well.
Yeah, really, yeah. Why? Okay. Also, at Mob Rules John, BC4D,
Yeah.
at Glacier Week. What the fuck is with custodes? Why do you keep downloading that episode? We can't figure it out.
Hey, I like that episode.
Why?
Go ahead and keep downloading it.
I also enjoy it.
John may want to look at that gift horse in the mouth, but I am not going to question it.
Hit us up. Do you want more custodes episodes?
We're gonna
We'll
just
research
slowly.
the shit out of that.
Actually, the real question is how many more Custodes episodes do you want? Not if you do. How many more?
Our non-existent ad revenue depends on you.
Episode 53, part 1, will be the Custodes' names. And it's just going to consist of, the first part will be me reading the first third of the name, and it'll be 3 hours long. Yeah. And then the second part will be you, Ted, and then it'll be Phil. And then it'll be like, well, and then we'll be back to square one. We won't know what to do.
Yeah. That could be the next 3
we'll
episodes.
Have
we'll just choose one Custode and read his name.
You know what I
in
really
3 episodes worth of Mob Rules.
You know, like, because Jeff the Custode had done like a poem / eulogy, maybe I should have put like Jeff the Custode in the title of the last one, and we would have had more downloads.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Jeff the Custode eulogizes.
Yes.
I want to thank everyone who bought a Jeff the Custode shirt.
Yeah, that was super cool.
There's this guy, thank you guy in Australia. I also heard of one in the wild out in Wasilla.
Oh, yeah.
Again, spotted locally. So we appreciate that there. Waiting for the plasma pistols, my penis shirt. Or I forget the joke now.
Oh, it was.
I've never had a girlfriend,
but I had a plasma
I've had a
pistol.
plasma pistol my entire life.
You know what would probably be way better. Okay, and this is cool. Late recording.
Yeah.
People have probably already turned off.
Yeah, I did.
I've never had a girlfriend, but I've had a bolt gun all my life. I feel that one right there.
Yeah.
It's fucking money, man.
Okay.
I mean, we
I
don't.
like it.
We get like what, 3 cents a T-shirt.
I got somebody who like messaged me a little while ago, or maybe it was like on Twitter. They made reference to the swole cockplate. That's a blast from the past. We haven't talked about the swole cockplate in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was a T-shirt that never happened.
Oh yeah, I really wanted that one.
It should have been shorts.
Yeah, if you remember that episode, please use the hashtag swole. Retweet this episode. The link's going to be at Mob Rules John. And just at the top, just say hashtag swole.
Hashtag swole.
And then we'll know who the true OC people who have nothing better to do with their time are.
We'll also get a whole bunch of downloads from people looking for, like, Do You Lift Bro podcast.
We do not.
You know, and I think that's the perfect...
Short answer is we do not. The long answer is we do not.
But we play with little men.
Oh, man. All that...
Yeah, we lift dice. We feel icky the next day after doing so.
Because we're old and our backs hurt from bending over a table all day.
Standing up for a whole day.
I usually shower about twice a week. I just hate to say it.
Nice.
But I showered twice that weekend. I literally showered twice that weekend. Like it was wash that nerd right off of your body.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point to end on as any. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Hey man, as long as they keep making as long as the Games Workshop keeps on making it, we'll keep talking about it.
Yeah, we will.
So for Marbles, I've been John.
I'm Ted.
I'm Phil.
And we'll see you later.
This episode of Mob Rules has been brought to you by Mob Rules Media. Please join our Facebook group and be part of the conversation at facebook.com/MobRulesAK. You can also email us at themob@tophat-arts.com. Thanks for checking us out, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Not pushing stop.
Perfect.
Today on Mob Rules,
We talk about Primaris.
8th edition. Ish. Should we try that one again?
All right.